What's going on, everybody?
What
This
is
is
up?
episode 8 of Flippin Tin, part of the Herpeticulture Network. I am Jacob Rotz with Longleaf Reptilia.
I am Sky of Hail the Scales and Peach Throw Passion. What's up, y'all? It's been a minute.
Hope everybody's doing well, whether you tune in live or you are listening to this on your commute to work. It's been a while. It's been damn near a month since our last episode. Things have been quite hectic on all fronts. I was in Tennessee for a little bit. Sky's been in the middle of moving. It's been all over the place.
Fun as fuck.
Yeah, yeah. But such is life. We're glad to be here. And so far, it looks like only our buddy Niserg is in the
I just seen him in
chat.
the chat.
Yeah,
Oh,
thanks for
Garter, man.
joining.
We're about to talk about you.
Yeah, we got a story from him because good googly moogly he slayed it recently. Um, but so with we have a few write-ins to go over, and then our guest has limited time, so we're gonna save any updates from me and Sky for the end. Even though we really don't have much, I haven't been out that much lately. I can't remember. Did I talk about the time me and Smitty were out last couple times on the last episode?
No,
Okay,
that
so
all
I have
happened like
been.
right after our last episode.
Okay, all right. So
So you
yeah,
can talk about that. I can talk about me and Preston's little outing, and then I can
yeah,
talk about real quick just my big news with the personal collection. Even though we don't do that, I just felt like I want to fucking tell the world about
yeah,
this shit because I'm
yeah,
stoked as fuck.
yeah, for sure, for sure. So we'll save all of our updates for the end because our guest is supposed to pop on here at about 8:15. He's only got about an hour, so we don't want to keep him. So we'll jump straight into the write-ins for the last couple weeks. We don't have many. We've got 4 overall, but I've got several peak chars from
You got
everybody.
peak chars, dude?
Peak chars.
Holy frick.
Let me make sure I got everything pulled up. I do. Um, so we'll do the write-ins, or we'll read the write-ins, and then we'll go through some pictures real quick. So our first one is from a recent guest of ours, Nipper Reed, our good friend across the pond. If you don't know who he is, you're missing out. Definitely look him up on Instagram. I will look up his tag right now. I believe it's just Nipper Reed.
I think it's Nipper Reed.
Yeah, it's just
Nipper
Nip.
Reed.
Yeah, it's just Nipper Reed on Instagram. NIPPERREAD. So if you're not following him, you should. You're missing out. He's an awesome European herper, been all over the country. He's damn close to having every single herp in the UK.
And you, Jake, you just said PP and European all in the same sentence.
Exactly. Because I'm slick like that.
You crafty fella.
All right. So Nipper messaged me personally. And he said, "Hey mate, just got back from Greece/Bulgaria. Yet again, missed out on the target of blotch snake.
Damn.
If you listen to, so I have an update on that one though. If you listen to his episode with us, that was the only snake left in Europe that he needed to find was this blotch snake. So we went out to Greece and Bulgaria to find them. But I do have an update. So." Yet again, missed out on the target of blotch snake. A ton of military action along the Turkish border meant we could not get a lot of sites we had planned, but still managed to get around 65 snakes in hand.
Jesus.
We found the following species: the Ottoman viper, Amodites viper, Caspian whip snake, Persia grass snake, dice snake, blind snake, Balkan green lizard, snake-eyed lacertid, Ethard's wall snake, snake-eyed skink, western green lizard, various newts and frogs, and and the toughest looking toad ever. And that indeed is the toughest looking toad ever. So let me pull up the pictures that we have. Pardon the weird screen that you're going to get at first.
Whoa, dude.
And then, all right. Can you see that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I'm not good at identifying all these vipers, but this is one of them. He said, so this is probably the Ottoman viper, possibly the Emodites. I'm not sure which one, if I'm being quite honest with you.
Whatever
But
it is, it looks pretty freaking awesome.
that's amazing, dude. I love like the structure of European vipers, dude.
Right?
Like what a beautiful snake.
I love the pattern. It's like
Yeah.
it's like always like a mix of like a zigzag and saddles. Like it seems like all the Vipera and everything, they all have
Yeah.
that same kind of thing going on.
They almost remind me of Death Adders.
Yeah.
Between the body structure, kind of head structure, but like also even cooler in their own way.
That and like a Solomon Island ground boa.
Yeah. And then
Can't
look
go
at that
yet.
guy. Look at that guy.
That's freaking awesome.
Beautiful.
That's freaking wicked, dude.
Come on, dude.
Holy shit. That's sick
incredible.
as fuck, man.
There's
It almost
another
looks
one.
xanthic.
Yeah, so like you can tell some of them like that has that more xanthic anery look, and then you have one like this that's a lot more red.
Yeah.
Absolutely stunning.
Beautiful. He's great shots too, man. That's awesome.
Yeah, Nipper's a great photographer.
That's the smooth lizard or the glass lizard or the
That's some type of legless lizard. Not sure which one that would be, but yeah, I'm not good at my European species. That's a cool frog.
It's got some nice little speckles on it. Damn, that's was it a salamander or a newt?
He said various newts and frogs, so I'm guessing that's a newt.
That looks like a newt.
Yeah, that's a newt.
Dude, sure. That thing looks fucking wicked.
Yeah.
That yellow stripe on the tail.
Yeah, that's really, really nice.
Sick.
I love newts, dude. They're so freaking cool. There's another one.
Beautiful.
And that's that tough looking toad.
Tank of a toad.
That thing's insane, man. What a stud.
Straight tank.
He didn't give me a species on the toad, but
looks like a tomato toad.
And that's one of the grass snakes. That I do know.
Natrix, yep.
And that's the end of that because I marked with a black screen when they were done.
Nice. We gotta we're already at 8 minutes anyway, so we gotta keep blasting.
We're gonna keep rolling through. Thank you, Nipper. And real quick update with Nipper. He did a kamikaze trip back to Bulgaria, and he found his blotch snake.
Yeah, congratulations, Nipper. Heck yeah, brother.
He said, cannot tell you how beyond stoked I was to see it. 15 years of looking for it. So that is amazing. We're definitely going to do an update with Nipper once he finds his last species. He said, so now all I have is 2 lizards left going in September and a newt. So he's only got 3 species of herp overall to find before he has every single species of herp in Europe. So what an incredible,
that's a feat, man.
Yes, sir. All right, so moving on, we have our buddy who's been writing in frequently, Ben Bailey from Rural Reptiles. He had a pretty good story with us. He said, hi guys, it's been a while since I messaged in. Loving the podcast. It's really a great listen. You've had some awesome guests already, so thank you, Ben. I was waiting to see if I could turn up some more finds to partake in the new challenge, but with the few species we have over here, it's been difficult. But I went away about 3 weeks ago now to about 2.5 hours away from me. We have a caravan at this place where we do short trips a couple times a year. It has a massive sand dune nature reserve right on the sea and has most of the species and whales there. I made an effort to head out, and the main target was adders again, Vipera burris. Just to find some in a different spot. And long story short, the weather wasn't great, but just as I was about to leave empty-handed, I spotted one I spotted one adder, then came back. To my amazement, walked up on two combating males. Carried out watching them for a good while and continued to see both males after, as well as a female and another male. Also saw a couple common lizards, Zutaka vivipara. But mostly I
Definitely.
got pictures and videos of the adders. I'll send some across. Sorry for the long message, but it was unreal fine for me. No problem for the long message, my friend.
Woo-hoo!
These are pictures of the combating adders. I can only imagine seeing
Yeah, look
these.
at how wicked that shit looks, man.
That's insane. I mean, incredible pictures.
Oh my god, that's so sick.
So those are, if you're
Looks
listening
like
to this on your commute to work, you definitely got to tune into the live to see these pictures because
looks like two zippers going at it, dude. You just freaking
these with their red eyes, they look like demon snakes, dude. Like,
legit, like straight up dragons fighting,
yeah,
floating and
so
fighting.
wicked.
Like they look like they're flying in those pictures.
Yeah, like, and look how small, and these are not big snakes at all.
No,
And they're all just like little twigs, and they're combating. I mean, how cool is that? Um, I assume that might be one of the female he saw, and then there's the combating males again. For anybody who doesn't know, a lot of times males combat, especially during breeding season. People are familiar with carpet pythons. Carpet python males are known to combat for females, and that kind of induces breeding. So, good stuff for sure. I think this is the video, but we're going to skip over that because we're kind of don't really have a lot of time. And then this is one of the grass snakes. He rode into us again. So a couple more for you guys. Grass snakes, Natrix, Helvetica just started to reappear again in our farm after a long winter. Just a couple quick phone pics from earlier. So these are juveniles, which I didn't know they changed this much. So these are the juveniles, kind of that red ring around their neck. And then these are the larger adults. I
it's
mean,
freaking
come on.
awesome.
That's so sick. And these actually play dead, which I
No
did not
shit.
know.
Damn hog nose, European
Yeah,
hogs.
right. So those are cool as hell. Thank you, Ben, for writing us in again. We've really appreciated you contacting us with your write-ins. It's been amazing. You've had some awesome finds. And if you want to check out Ben Bailey, he's rural.reptiles2. So definitely check him out. I believe that's all for him. Yes.
Look at that little freaking snake, dude.
Awesome. So quick write-in from our friends over in the Puget Sound. Our friends Jeff and Kendra from Puget Sound Pythons. They had a write-in, and this is Kendra with a handful of garters. He said, flip these 7-line snakes and garter from my dad's pool tarp in Butler County, Kansas. He said he was attacked by a snake under the tarp and wanted us to move them. We relocated them 10 minutes away to Kendra's mom's farm. So they've got a couple pictures here of the 7-line snakes, and there's a garter in there. There's that
Look
garter.
at that thing. Holy shit.
Beautiful.
I love the red checker garters, man.
Yeah, they're really nice. And he said it cracked us up. We grabbed them and asked, are these the vicious snakes that attacked you? He said, yes, get those away from me. So very good, Jeff and Kendra. Thank you for writing in, and thank you for removing the vicious, horrible snakes that
Chase and kill people.
that were chasing and trying to envenomate everybody.
Trying to kill everybody.
Yeah. All right. So next is our buddy Niserg. And when he was on, when he wrote in last, I did not give his Instagram handle. So I'm just gonna spell it out for you. It's his name, Niserg, and his handle is NIS.ARG. So check him out on Instagram if you haven't already. He said took a trip to Oregon and Washington this past week to herp and specifically for Thamnophis. Happy to say that I found all my target species, just not all the color phases, unfortunately. So I will have to go back. I know that these species aren't uncommon by any means, but it was still rewarding to find them. Drove all over Oregon and northern Washington to herp at spots that I thought would be fruitful, which was great because now I have some spots to go back to in the future. Thanks to a friend who also pointed me in the right direction to a great spot too. Also, chasing garters should be a sport, and it absolutely should. Species and number of individuals found listed below. He found Thamnophis, Sertalis, Pickeringii, the Puget Sound garter. He found 7 of those.
Nice.
He also found Thamnosis, Serturalis, Concinus,
You got it.
the Oregon red spotted garter. He found 95 of those.
So just a couple.
Yeah, just a few. And then he found Thamnophis ordinoides, the northwestern garter, and he found 4 of those. So here's a few pictures of those. I assume that's one of the red spotteds, if you can't tell.
Yeah.
And look at that guy, dude.
That's freaking awesome right there, dude.
Got a little taste of that red garter poop or that garter snake poop. Very nice. That's a diesel garter right there. Really good looking. Look at the reds, man. The flames on those things are just incredible.
Did my screen mess up at all on your end?
I cannot see you. I am looking at the. I'll flip through these real quick and then I'll.
All right, no worries. I just tapped my screen and it freaking shot me off into outer space. So.
Nice. Can you still see the garters?
Now I'm like, it went from me being on my screen to now I'm in my screen. So yeah, I'm like, I'm part of the. I feel like I'm POV of that arm right now.
There you go. That works. Look at that, dude. I love how this one has like the blue on him, but he's also got these little red dots in there.
Tiny little red dots on the upper side and blue on the bottom. That's a nice one right there.
Yeah, that's a really good looking individual. And that is the last one, and that's probably one of my favorites.
Yeah, I love the look of those.
Yeah, that thing's good looking. And that is all from our buddy Niserg. Thank you, my friend, for riding into us again, and congrats on finding well over 100 garter snakes.
Yeah, man.
And even better that you went out. Oh, you're sideways, buddy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Get back is the funny part.
What did you do?
Like I said, I tapped the screen.
Maybe you should stop tapping stuff. Can you rotate your phone? Is that a thing?
I'll figure it out.
Oh man. Well, thank you everybody that wrote in. There you go. You're good now. Nope. Now you're not. There.
What about that?
Stop. Don't touch. God, what are you doing, man?
I don't know. When I touch it, it goes way off.
Okay, well, leave it like that. You're fine.
Now I can't see anything.
Well, you don't need to see anything now. Now you're sideways again.
Okay.
Well, anyways, either be sideways or not see anything. So if anybody hasn't been able to tell, we're a little discombobulated. Sky is running off of his phone right now. He does not have Wi-Fi at his new place yet. So everything's just kind of jacked up. He's using his phone and he is sideways.
Bear with me, people.
Dude, go back to the other way. We're not showing any more slides, so you'll be all right.
All right.
And he just exited out. So I will add him back as soon as he comes back on. So I'll go ahead and jump into this. Again, thank you everybody for writing in. We certainly appreciate it. Sky is still sideways. we'll just rock with it. Thank you for everybody that wrote in, Nipper, Ben, Jeff and Kendra, and Nisarg. We certainly appreciate all of our write-ins. Everybody be encouraged. Don't touch anything, Sky. You're fine just like that.
All right, just
Don't
know I
touch your
can't see
screen yet.
anything on
Yes.
my screen.
That's you don't have to see anything. Just deal with it.
Deal. Let me know when I need to look at someone's face.
Yeah, no. But thank you everybody that wrote in. Please remember, everybody, give us your stories, give us your write-ins. Nothing is too long or too short. We want to hear it all. So thank you very much. With that, we're going to jump into our guest because he's only got about an hour to spare with us. So everybody, please welcome our very good buddy Chaz with More Than Morelia.
You're on screen.
How's it going, my friend?
Good. Can y'all hear me okay?
Oh,
Yep.
yeah.
Sweet. Sent it with a no sound check, but seems like it's working out.
Dude, you're good. I'm sideways and I can't even see my screen. So I don't even know what you guys look like right now.
Oh, you can't see us either?
I can't see shit. That's what I'm saying.
What are you looking at right now?
A fucking picture of a StreamYard duck. As big as my fucking screen.
Okay, well.
I don't even know what my phone is doing. It's annoying the shit out of me.
Well, I don't know either because I did StreamYard off my phone for a while, and so like that.
Sideways.
I don't even care. People are just gonna rock me sideways.
Can you rotate your phone? Is that a thing?
No, I don't want because I'm fucking sitting like a gypsy in my chair right now.
All right. Well, Sky will either just be sideways or not see anything. We're gonna leave that up to him.
I'll periodically switch it up.
Yes. And
here we are.
Yes, glad you're able to join us this eve, Chaz. We had some. We wanted to go over. So for anybody that doesn't know, I know we said it on the last podcast. We talked about the herp trip that we took to the Francis Marion. Chaz is the reason that it happens. This was our second annual trip. So we kind of wanted to talk to him about everything and, sort of what it takes to set up a trip like this and kind of how it all came to be, and then go into some of his field herping endeavors. With that being said, Adam Ivory in the chat said he got his Flippin Tin hat. He loves it. Thanks, fellas. Speaking of that, anybody who got their Flippin Tin gear, shoot us a picture, a selfie, you are out herping, whatever. Shoot us some type of picture with you and your Flippin Tin gear because we really want to make a big post of everybody wearing their stuff. Chaz, that includes you. Send a selfie with your Flippin Tin shirt. And we want to get everybody in. All the orders went out last Thursday. Everybody seems to be getting their stuff. So definitely keep us posted on when you get it and send us some pictures. So little sidebar. But Chaz, why don't you start out by telling us about, how you got into field herping? When did you start and what came first, captive collection or field herping?
For me, field herping was definitely where I began in the hobby and where my keeping began. Growing up down in Florida, most of what I had access to when I was young was wild caught stuff. So it was it was all herping to me. I didn't really start keeping captive born and bred animals till I was probably about 14 years old, and from the time I could walk, I had my head in a bush herping like most of us did.
Yeah.
And then I guess I didn't really start getting more serious into it till about 4 or 5 years ago, like making intentional trips and really going out and targeting animals, and just putting more thought behind it. Back when I was younger, it was a whatever you could find type of deal, but I didn't really have a strategy per se to I'm gonna find this animal in this particular location. Like I was catching whatever I could, and
you were in like more southern Florida too, so you had opportunities of catching invasives and all kinds of cool different species in general.
Oh yeah.
You were just like, let me get out there and see what I could find because it's going to be a plethora anyway.
Right. And there were so many unique animals that I could just like, catch off the sidewalk. There wasn't
Yeah.
really a need for me to go buy a leopard gecko or a bearded dragon.
Yeah.
There was so many different nitinoles and agamids and all those different things that are
Yeah, when you can
similar
get a
enough that I
red-headed llama off the sidewalk, there's no point in
right.
get whatever, like you're saying.
the
Yeah.
the, the biggest thing we had access to was the brown basilisks, and we had this
Oh wow.
canal system behind my neighborhood where they just bred like crazy. We had one person on either side of this canal bank, and we walk down it. They jump in the water, and you dip net them, and
Dang.
that's that.
That's cool, man. No, and I
You
feel like that's how, as far as, when we say, field herping, we, a lot of people think of, like actually going out, looking through the woods, flipping logs, all the stuff. And, how a lot of us got our start was literally in our backyard,
right,
like
right,
me, field herping started. And you guys know those little where the little holes in the ground with the plastic where they would keep your sprinkler knob, turn on and on
yeah,
your sprinkler. I remember
right,
almost every day when I was a little kid, I would go out there and open that thing to see what kind of toads had gotten in there and other little lizards. One time I popped that sucker open, there was a big old corn snake in there. And at the time I was a little kid and I was about to grab a big old corn snake when I was, 6 years old.
right,
But that's how a lot of it started, was just like in your yard, catching the knolls on the side of your house. In your case, it was brown basilisk lizards jumping into a into a
right,
ditch. So, a little different, but still awesome. So that's really cool, man. And I feel like that's how a lot of us got started into herps in general, is just catching just whatever was common in your backyard because your parents wouldn't let you meander everywhere by yourself. So
right, right. And they were my parents weren't a big fan of snakes, so they were generally okay if I
yeah,
brought like an anole home, or I brought some type of a skink or an agamid home or something like that. Uh, so once I kind of realized what they were going to allow me to keep, I mean that's what I focused on. I never really pushed to, oh, let me get the snake, or I never really tried to veer off of that. So I was a lizard guy for the longest time, even in my captive keeping. Uh, Up until probably about 6 years ago when I pretty much did the complete uh, shift into snakes.
yeah, I did the same thing. Yeah, the only difference with me was like my parents never wanted me to take stuff from the outside, so it wasn't something I could catch and keep. It was, oh, he likes this stuff, so we're gonna get him a leopard gecko and make sure he shuts up. Um,
Right,
so
right,
that was me for a long time, and then again, everybody knows who's listened to me on podcasts before. They know the story. I pestered them until I finally got a snake when I was like 14. Then it was all downhill from there.
my the the first captive animal that I have like really good memory of buying was a crested gecko, so still a lizard. And he's living over there in the other room today. It's like
Nice.
shy of 15 years ago.
Wow.
Cool,
Yeah.
man.
That's awesome, man.
So it's cool to be able to look back and like realize where that love came from. It's catching lizards outside, which is why it's so important for us when we have animals kept in this way. I think personally, to get out there and experience them in their natural habitat and be able to appreciate them outside of PVC boxes.
Yeah, and that's going to be another question for you later, is because that's a big part of this podcast, is talking to people about how field herping has influenced their captive keeping and the things they do. So we'll get into that a little later, but that absolutely, it's a huge thing, man. It's one thing seeing your snakes in a rack, in a cage, or like you said, a PVC box, whatever. But there's something about seeing this, possibly if you keep a bunch of exotic stuff, you might not see them, but seeing snakes out in the wild in their natural habitat, it really changes how you do things. It changes your mindset. It really, does you good for the soul,
Right. Keeps your mind moving.
Yeah. Yeah. And everybody talks about, anybody who captive breeds, they're like, that feeling of your first clutch hatching, seeing the eggs poking out, like they're like, oh, there's no better feeling. And there's not many that are better. But for me, I'm like, you ever found your target species? Like that's
You ever
woo.
targeted a species in a certain area and made it happen? Like,
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Like that to me is like the ultimate. If I set out and I say I want to find this and I think I'm going to find it here, and then you do it, oh dude, there's no better feeling.
It's like two different levels of figuring it out, though.
Yeah,
There's
absolutely.
the captive level of I figured it out.
Yeah.
And it's like great. Like there's plenty of species where that is difficult. It's great achievement.
Yeah.
But finding animals in landscapes where it seems like nothing could possibly live there and nothing does live there. When in your mind that this animal lives there, and you put in hours and hours of work in the sun and the rain or whatever the conditions might be, and you find that thing, like, look, that's the tits.
That's it, man.
That's the tits, man.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's
It hardly
why.
gets better.
I got a reference for that feeling that all three of us experienced together on Chaz's first annual Northern Morelia herp trip. Jake wanted a lifer black rat. I wanted a black rat. And Chaz said, I know of a spot where we can go see a black rat, guys. Let's go. So he loads us all up. We drive to a spot, and not even 5 minutes into the trail, we're kind of walking in like twos and threes, kind of spaced out, 15, 20 yards from each other. And Chaz and Jake are the first two. And then I think it was like me and Preston and someone else is like the second two or three. And sure enough, we just see Chaz calm as a fucking sparrow in the fucking woods. No pun intended. Points out into the fucking shits and he goes, hey, Jake, there's your black rat. And sure enough, there's just this beautiful fucking 4 foot long plus black rat stretched out. And we all got to experience that together. And Jake got his life for black rat. And that was just such an awesome 20 minutes that we all got to experience with that thing, man.
I'll never forget that because I can still hear Chaz like in my head. Because I was, anybody who knows me knows I love rat snakes. Like they are my passion in the hobby. They are my favorite species, bar none. And I'm just like, I was this whole time I'm trying to find a black rat, dude. I'm just scanning everywhere I go. And we're walking. All of a sudden, Chaz like puts his arm on me. He stops me. He goes, Jake, there's your black rat. And I looked over, and sure enough, this big old black rat had its head in a little burrow.
Yeah.
Just digging down in there. And I ran over to it. And it was so like, oh my God, I just like slowly picked this individual up and just had it. It was really, really calm, really, really big animal. And it was great.
That
dude.
animal just let us hold it and like go fit. Like I have a picture where I'm holding it.
Up. You up? You there? You broke out.
Back? No. Yes.
Yeah, you're back. Yeah, you're back. You had a picture of you holding it, and you were making some. You there?
And I believe that was the last snake of that trip.
I think it was.
I think that was on. I know it was on Sunday, and it was. We left the main spot. We were coming back towards my place,
mm-hmm.
And I mean that snake was going down a hole. I think it was probably like 6 o'clock.
Yeah, it was late in the afternoon.
If we would have been 5 minutes later, that sucker might have been gone. And we found other black rats during the trip, but I think like I had found one, and then Jack had found one, and you were off looking for snakes, so it wasn't
Yeah.
like your
Well, we missed
it wasn't like your encounter.
first day too.
Yeah, because I think
Right.
y'all herped Friday. Me and Sky got there Saturday. Because Sunday we didn't really herp. Everybody kind of went their way on Sunday. So this was like Saturday late evening that we found it. And
Was it? Okay.
yeah, because me and Sky only had the one day. Because I'm pretty sure Sunday everybody just kind of woke up and dipped. Because Sky left really, really early on Saturday.
Yeah, I left at like 4 a.m. on
after
Sunday.
he got done cuddling Jack all night.
Yeah, we did more than cuddle, dude.
Yeah, so that was really awesome. Me and Chaz also had a fun time with a black racer.
Spitfire.
Yeah, that thing that was good. That was a fun catch because like you hollered at me and you're like right there's a racer. And
He's always back there too.
Yeah,
that's his little domain.
That's cool, man. And Chaz was like, "There's a racer right there." He's like, "All right, you stay where you are. I'm gonna make a run for him, and when he bolts, try to cut him off and grab him." And that is literally the exact sequence that happened. Chaz made the run for him. He bolted and he came right towards me, and I nabbed him up, and it was a fun little catch for us. That was a really fun trip, man.
They'll put you through the ringer.
Oh yeah,
fun. Like people say they're not fun to catch, and it's like, yeah, I'm not gonna chase every one.
No.
Through the freaking briars.
No.
But when there's one that's like you tried to get it, once or twice, and it's getting away, and you still think you can get it, you got to finish the job.
Yeah, no, and that's how I am. I always say at least the first black racer of the day, I'm going all out. That I get my hands on at least one. That first one, I got to catch at least one, then the rest can go about their merry way.
I was about to say you got to get that rush out of the way because we always at least go after a couple of them.
Yeah, you got to, man. You got to.
I mean,
Henry's gonna make a brief appearance real quick.
What's up, hen dog?
What's up, hen dog?
That's your friends, right? Sky and Jack.
Jake.
Or Jake, sorry. Jake, Jack. Get out of here. Go to bed.
Later, little man.
There's a little future herper right there, boy.
He is convinced that he came on this trip because it's when he talks about it, it's our camping trip, him and I's. And he's like still talking about it weeks later. What about the camping trip we went on?
Yeah, he's got to be at the next one.
Yeah, I said we were talking about it for the podcast. I said next year I think is when it's time to bring him out.
Oh yeah.
Very
we
good.
will accommodate the little boy.
Absolutely, dude. I saw the pictures you posted of him with his little snake hook being all excited out in the field, dude. I was like,
he's so cute.
That spot where those pictures were taken is where we lost that. I think it was that plain belly water snake.
Yeah, I remember that.
On the first trip.
Yeah.
Down in that old it's like a well house down in there or something. I don't remember exactly what that body of water was for.
I don't know, but it's cool. That was a cool area because that was the same spot we found the Eastern King at.
Yeah.
And see, that was another cool example because like right before we found that Eastern, you're like, I know Eastern Kings are here. We just need to find them. And then 10 seconds into the trip, Eastern King right there that yours truly spotted somehow by looking.
And it was like sitting in front of my feet.
I don't know how you missed it, dude. It was right there. And but that's also why you want people, at least another set of eyes looking in the same spot, because not everybody's looking at the same spot. And that king snake was laying there so perfectly, was not moving. And this isn't about like, oh, so-and-so has better eyes. It's all about you just so happen to catch it. You know what I mean?
I have a couple, so I went back to that spot, a couple weeks ago, and it was like a very similar morning. I mean, like 2 weeks later in date than it was when we found that king.
Mm.
And I was going back and looking at the pictures, and I had service with like saved uh all the information, so it had like the weather and everything for the day, like right there on the picture.
Mm.
And I was like, man, today's the day. And I went back there, and not 4 feet to the side of where we found that king is another one
No.
curled up in the leaves. Yeah. And then around the other side of that rock area, there's one curled up basking.
Wow. So you found, oh, that's right. You showed me pictures of two of them together.
Yeah.
Dang, dude. That's,
And I don't think, like, if we didn't find the first one, that was probably like, I mean, the 10th time I've been to that spot
mhm,
when we found the first king.
mhm.
And man, I don't know if I found that first, if we didn't find that first one, I don't know that I would have kept really given this spot that much more attention. Because like, the for the people listening, I wish I had a picture of the rock pile, but it's basically an old like collapsed brick house, and
Yeah,
this
it's like an
area
old brick
floods.
structure that fell down.
Yeah, and this area is in the flood zone, so all this leaf litter packs up against like the north side of this pile of bricks, and just creates this like perfect habitat uh for these snakes down in there. um can y'all throw a picture up if I send it to the chat?
Yeah, if you send it to me, I'll save it and throw it up on here. I'm looking for the picture. There's a picture that we have of it in Chaz's hands, and you kind of get the background shot
Okay.
of it. This is the one we found out there. Here we go. Let me pull this up. There we go. Let me pull this up. Blah,
Dude, Jake,
blah.
my contact picture for you is me holding that king snake and you in the
Oh,
background.
I've seen it. I hate that picture.
Face.
So y'all can kind of see the background here. It's very, you can see the rocks right here. I don't know if y'all can see my cursor,
Hmm.
but you kind of see the rocks right here, and then all this vegetation. This thing was laying like up in the rocks amongst the vegetation. All I saw was like this little patch of pattern, and it took me a second because I saw it and I almost didn't believe what I was looking at. I was like, I paused and I was like, oh my God, that's a king snake. I just started yelling, king snake, king snake, king snake. And I grabbed it. And oh my gosh, dude.
Yeah, that thing was beautiful.
What a.
I
What
literally, that happened so quick that me, Aiden, and two other people weren't even fully out of the vehicles yet. I was still putting my backpack on. Aiden was still getting stuff out of the truck. And all of a sudden, we just hear, king snake, king snake, king snake. And we all just freaking sprint over to you guys. Like, that was so sick.
Yeah. That was an awesome find. But Chaz, yeah, if you have another picture, send it to me
I
real quick and I'll save it.
I forgot. I had I was standing there with both those king snakes in hand, and this giant racer just comes slithering out of that rock pile. I mean, it was like, I don't know, maybe it's like 10 in the morning, like light sprinkling rain. I found like 7 snakes in an hour at that spot. Like,
Yeah, dude.
and then it was over, and then it was done. There was nothing else to be seen. It got hot. It was super humid, and it
Sun
was like,
came out and everything went in
yeah,
hiding.
right, right.
And so, like, that right there, I think is the perfect example of learning using wild snake um behaviors in your captive collection, because like, if you herp enough, you figure out like how these things act at certain times of the day, and you can obviously you can't do it exactly the same way in your room, but you can learn like the types of temperatures that they're active in, that they might be hunting in, and where that's why that whole like 90-degree hot spot, you know, thing went away because it became very apparent that snakes were not moving when it was 90 degrees out. They don't really
Right.
they don't like that. So that's
Right.
why that whole thing just kind of went out the window. And you know, it's little things like that that field herping really changes. And I guarantee you, it's field herpers that, you know, figured that out and said, you know, maybe we should stop doing this because like they don't really like it.
You mean them being pressed up against the front of the tub is a bad thing?
Right. All right. Chaz just sent me these pictures that I saved. Disregard my screen for a second.
Nudes.
Shut up.
So this is how I walked up on him.
I mean, what a spot, dude. Oh my God.
That's what I'm talking about. How those leaves pile up and they've dried out. And you can see how much, like, he's pretty hidden, but you can see how much of his body is still visible if you look closely. And I mean, he's getting plenty warm, you know, getting UV while still staying plenty hidden.
That's the perfect example of cryptic basking.
Yep.
Right.
Cryptic basking right there at its best, baby.
And then there's another.
That's the second one.
Oh, that was the second one you found.
Yeah, that's the second one right there. That's up.
And these were a lot bigger than the one we found, right?
Yeah, I want to say the one we probably found was like pushing into its second year, and these were adults.
Yeah.
Yeah, that thing was fucking beautiful. I remember when you sent those pictures, I was just like, "Holy shit, bro!"
Yeah, and there was nobody else there, so you know I didn't have the this spot is a historic site, so there's not really any rock flipping or anything. It's just kind of walk around and see what you can see. And luckily, these snakes were, you know, sitting out in a place where I didn't disturb that site by picking them up in any way.
Yeah.
But also, since there was nobody there, I just got to sit there, enjoy them for a little bit.
That's the best, man.
I feel like so often it's like you hunt, and then you find the thing, and it's like, okay, take my pictures, let it go, move on to the next thing.
So what I am only like that when I'm road cruising.
Okay.
Because road cruising is, yeah, if anybody knows me, they know I road cruise a lot. And with road cruising, it's more so take your pictures, get it off the road and get you out of the road, and then keep going, because road cruising, you only have a certain, like, you have that golden hour, you know, so you want to keep cruising to, you know, get as much as you can out of that golden hour. When I'm out in the field, dude, and I find something, I spend way more time with it, because I'm not worried about traffic coming down the road. I'm not worried about the snake getting hit, you know, things like that, you know. And even like, you know, and that's where in the mindset, if you're out hiking and you find stuff, take time to enjoy it, you know.
Dude, the last
time, take pictures.
My bad.
No, go ahead, Sky. No, you're good.
I was saying the last couple of coach whips I've found, dude, I've literally like got my pictures and my videos while I've been all fucking hyped up, and then after that, I've legit sat there with the animal for like 10 to 15 minutes. I think last time I looked at it, it was like between my time slots on my pictures and my videos, and then the last picture I took and video of it leaving, I spent like 27 minutes with this one snake. And it was just me and the snake. I had no one else with me. And it was just like, at one point, I was literally just fucking sitting there, like barely even just like had one hand on this thing, and we're just fucking chilling in its habitat. Like I'm sitting on my fucking ass in the sticks, like just fucking soaking that shit in, man. And like when you walk away from that, you just feel like you fucking are actually a little bit attached to the ether a little bit.
Yeah. It really, it grounds you almost.
Oh yeah.
Like, you know, being able to interact with a snake like that, especially in a positive manner. And I'll bring up our good buddy, Rob Christian from Rob is Creeping It Real. He really likes to make sure his interactions with a lot of the snakes he finds are very positive. You know, he's even gone up and like literally like didn't grab it, didn't pick it up, but literally scratched snakes on the chin, you know, very gentle with the way he does it. What's that?
Water snakes at that.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, and I think that's so important to have, you know, I'm not saying it's going to do any harm, but having positive, hey, granted, like with a black racer, you're probably not going to have a positive interaction. But with certain stuffs, you know, be gentle with the way you pick it up. Don't snatch it off the ground by the tail. You know, I really try that with most of the stuff I catch as I try and, you know, pick it up very gently, have a
Right.
positive, you know, interaction with it. Not just for the snake, but also for me. You know, you're going to get mussed, you're going to get bit sometimes, especially if you're dealing with neurodia and racers and stuff like that. It's going to happen, but you know, have those positive interactions, not just for the snake, but also for you, man, because it just like it grounds you almost, being like, you know, especially when you're by yourself, it's just like it's you and that snake in that moment, and it's incredible. You know, it's a feeling unlike any other. Um, so definitely take your time with your finds, man. You know, at least when it's safe to, you know, on the road, it can be, especially if you're on a curve or something, you know, it can be treacherous. You want to, you know, put safety above anything else, you know, of yourself and the animal. So be wary, but or be aware. But you know, if you're in the field, man, take your time, enjoy.
Right.
You know, um, I certainly try and do that whenever possible. So
Chazzy, we know you're kind of short on time, dude. What was your driving factor and what finally got you to start the first annual herp trip? And what are the benefits that you've already seen so far in the 2 years that it's happened? Because we want to focus a little bit on, you know, the, the stuff that you started and the groups that you brought together and
yeah,
how you're able to bring a group of guys from the whole Southeast United States together to all meet 2 years in a row, and
yeah,
we're going to keep doing it. So, like, let's talk
yeah,
about that a little bit, man. We want to
yeah.
hear a little bit about it.
Like how did this all come about? What how did you originally even think about it? You know, what made you start doing it?
I think the idea really came when me, Sky, uh, Jack Oliver, who helped organize this trip, uh, Brendan Myers, BM Exotics. Man, I don't want to leave anybody out here. Preston, we all had plans to meet up at Daytona 2 years ago, as most of us meet up at Daytona with our friends with like big intentions of wanting to, excuse me, of wanting to herp together and like constantly just looking at our schedules and like, okay, two of us can go, but two of us can't go, or four of us can go, but one of us can't go, and just really not looking far enough out on our calendars to really plan something where like 15 guys could realistically get together because we all have busy lives and everything. Uh, so the first thing that I wanted to do was get together with my friends outside of a show setting where it wasn't about exchanging money for animals or like anything to do with the captive hobby. Like the goal
Yeah,
was to completely remove that aspect uh, from the relationship that I had with these people, the relationship that we had with these animals, and really get back to like I guess the basics of like kind of like where we all started,
yeah,
which is catching black rats and racers and water snakes,
yeah,
toads, and walking through the swamp and doing all the things that we all love but just don't have enough time for, I guess.
yeah,
Just don't have enough time for. And being able to do it in a group that size. We, you know, plenty of us uh do smaller trips. Like I know you and Sky do trips pretty regularly, and
yeah.
Preston joins y'all. Uh,
Frequently we do these.
right. But it's a lot harder to make that commitment to get like Sky to drive all the way up uh, to Georgia or to North Carolina and meet this other group of guys. Uh, So as far as the location, the goal was to pick a spot where we could see the most animals possible, all herps, frogs, turtles, lizards, snakes. The goal was to keep the options as open as possible. Um, and Jack Oliver is who suggested Francis Marion. Um, he had been there, I think, once or twice before. Um, so he right off the rip knew more than I did, and I knew that I needed somebody to help me organize this thing, and he was more than willing to help. So he was the co-host of the trip. Um, yeah, I think we set the dates like 10 months out or so. Gave everybody more than enough time to get it on their schedules, and like we know when we want it to be. We want it to be a spring trip, right? We're in the South. We want it to be a spring trip when everything's waking up. Uh, we want things to have shed out, gotten a couple meals in them, and be looking good. Uh,
Moving.
right, and I think that's what we got. I think overall, the location was great. We saw a lot of really cool animals.
Francis Marion is a magical place.
It was much. It's hard to get an idea of what the overall environment looks like off of just like INAT.
Well, that's the thing is
because
like,
my God, that place is so it's like very much the same, but very, very different. It's very large. So it takes a little while to change habitat, but once it does, it's like it's changed.
That's the thing with the Francis Marion is like from where we were, we only scratched the surface.
Right.
Like the Francis Marion is thousands on thousands of acres. And that's why it's not just like, oh, we're herping the Francis Marion. You got to know somebody. Like you got to know where you're going. You got to know what you're doing. Cause like the Francis Marion is so vast. It's so big. And honestly, like, yeah, there's probably a lot of areas you could probably just drive rock and dirt roads all through there and probably find stuff, but it's always good having somebody that kind of knows what's going on out there. And, again, huge shout out to our buddy Gabe. He just so happened to live 2 minutes from the campground. Like literally, it was like I went there to see him. And because Gabe and I have been friends for a little bit now, I went out there to herp with him, and I told him the camps. I was like, "Yeah, dude, group of us are coming out to herp out here, and camp out." And I gave him the campsite. He's like, "Dude, that's literally 2 minutes from my house." And I was like, "You're fucking kidding me." He's like, "Nope, we're gonna drive past it right now," and it was right there. So it was like, that to me, that was like. Obviously, like Gabe or no Gabe, we probably would have found stuff, but Gabe certainly helped give us really good areas. So big shout out to Gabe Schuler. He helped us out a ton. But that was like, to me, that was like the snake gods being like, I got you. You're going to find this campsite that just so happens to be up the road from a guy that's been there his entire life. And you're going to find some awesome shit. And we definitely did.
A bunch.
So. I think total between everyone was like just over 100 snakes.
Yeah, easily. We had 16 species total.
Mm-hmm.
Of just snakes, and that was in less than 48 hours technically.
Yeah.
Of actual herping, because we got there midday Friday. Herp Friday, herped all freaking day Saturday, and then there really wasn't much of anything on Sunday because weather kind of took a shit on us, and everybody
herped till about noon.
Yeah, but that was like early morning stuff. There really wasn't a lot going on. Weather was bad. Some people left early. Like shout out Smitty, he left at like 9 a.m. But yeah, I mean, we herped that morning, but like, I think there was one rat snake found. I think Tino 3 rat snakes or 3 snakes.
Pretty sure.
Okay.
We got
I know Tino found one.
that was the one right before we left, and then Jack and we found one earlier in the morning too, and then right when we left, we found another fresh DOR.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so Sunday wasn't nearly as productive. So it was really like half day Friday, all day or Saturday that we found 16 different species and over 100 snakes, man. Like it was a lot. Yeah, don't get me wrong. We put in the work. I mean, shout out to
Right.
all the fellas that came through and came out, man. We were tired. We smelled like crap, and it
Smell
was
like shit.
yeah, it was
And
bad.
there's long stretches still we don't find anything.
Yeah,
There's like hours throughout the day where you don't find stuff.
nope.
But if you stop, you're guaranteed to miss it. And that's what we did really well is we when we stopped to eat or use the bathroom or whatever it may have been, like everybody was totally on it.
It was go go go.
Right.
Like we made sure our stops were like
We were very intentional.
yeah, the bad times, you know, we didn't stop
Right.
until like late midday when the sun was at its hottest. We know things weren't going to be moving. We took that time to eat, you know, go use the bathroom, take a little break because we were all tired. But as soon as things even, we even had the potential to have a good day, we went.
Right.
We were going, you know, and that's what it takes.
Right.
That's what it takes. If you really want to put in the effort, put in the time, that's exactly what it takes is to do exactly what we did. I think we killed it, dude. You
Right.
know, there were certain things I know we kind of we missed out on like pygmies. You know, we everybody wanted to find a pygmy, couldn't
Yeah.
pull it out. But man, we found so many other individuals and you know, Jack, I don't know. I think the thing that got me like the most is pretty much I got lifers on this trip, which was amazing for me. I got 2 lifers in the glossy crayfish snake and the black swamp snake. So that was incredible for me. I love my dirt snakes. Everybody knows that. But how many people there got lifers is what made that trip for me. Like my stuff aside, I live here. I can go see Gabe whenever I want. Gabe is a herping god. Okay,
Right.
he lives 2 hours from me. I can go see him whenever I want. But the fact that so many people came down, like Zach and Devin from way up north, you know, they got, you know, especially Devin, he got all kinds of
Right.
lifers out there. Jack found his life for corn. Like that was honestly like shout out Jack. That was my biggest goal. That trip was like I want Jack to find a corn more than anything because whatever fucking reason that dude lives in South Carolina, I had never seen a corn snake in the wild, and I was like, it's happening. And we found how many corns?
Like
6 or 7,
4, 5, 6.
more than that. I think it was at least 5.
I think we brought the 4. We brought the 4 back with us for pictures. But I feel like somebody did find
I
another.
swear we found a lot, but I couldn't
Yeah,
remember.
there were several. Like,
That's what I thought
Yeah.
too.
And it was really cool for me to find that. I believe it was the first corn we had found. Smitty and I were cruising up to we were cruising back from the gas station,
yeah.
and I mean we're going the speed limit, which was like 45 miles an hour. We're coming to get back to camp to everybody else to head out, and Smitty's riding shotgun, and I see him look over real quick, and he's like, "That was snake. That was corn," and I'm like, I jammed those brakes to the floor so hard, man.
Locked them up, baby.
I was like, what? And it was just one of those perfect situations where it was like 9 a.m. Sun is coming up through the pine trees. This corn snake is like stretched over the white line on the road, like half his body in the grass, half on the asphalt, and he's just like glistening there. And it's like the point of this all is to like appreciate what that animal has done for the entire captive hobby. Like that's the whole point.
Yeah.
That's like the circle back. It's not like oh, it's an easy to find. Oh, it's a beginner snake. It's
all that goes out the window.
right.
You know, like
You didn't see that corn like we did.
no.
And like you should
And
go see that for yourself.
It's so funny to me, man. Like corn snakes specifically are looked at as these, you know, beginner snakes, very, very common in the hobby. You obviously haven't herped for them very much.
Right.
Because like I don't find a lot of corns. I really don't. Like it is a trait. I see them in a show and I walk right by them, you know, like I
Me
don't care
too.
about corns at a show, you know, I don't keep,
I can't even keep them here in Georgia.
yeah,
No,
exactly.
I don't
you
even
know?
I don't even see them here at shows, and
Yeah.
I can't even bring it home. So it's like hurts to look at it.
Yeah.
It's like all the rear fang stuff that I love. It's like I'd rather just not look.
Yeah. You know, but like, dude, you find one in the wild, that's a completely different ball game, man. Like I lose my mind over every single corn I find.
It took me and Preston 10 months to find the live corn.
Yeah.
From the last one we found. That was the gap.
You found 600 DORs.
I personally, in the time span between, probably found 25 to 30 DORs, red rats, and then that's not including all the fucking yellows. But yeah, it took just between us together, or being together. That's how long it was.
Yeah,
which is fucking insane.
And it speaks to how well those animals can be populating an area. But like, man, they're still hard to find, because like those 30 crossed that road and got killed, and like you hope it's a drop in the bucket.
Yeah.
You know? But the reality is I'll take finding a corn snake. I will never turn that down.
No,
never.
No. Anybody that turns up herping a corn snake can get out of my face. Like I don't care where you are. I don't care how common they are. Like that, in my opinion, so I want everybody to think of this in the aspect of somebody not from here, or not even the Southeast, somebody not from America, somebody in Europe or Australia. You know how many of those people would pay all kinds of money to find a fucking corn snake? Because like we take it for granted, you know, people who see them like, oh, it's a corn snake. Obviously it's pretty, you know, and we're super stoked to find them. But like that is one of the most beautiful snakes in North America. Mm-hmm. But we take it, if not the world, but we take it for granted because we live here and we see them occasionally. They're not common, but they're not necessarily uncommon. You know what I mean? Like they're around, you know, but somebody from Europe or Australia or Africa would just die inside to see a corn snake. You know what I mean? And it's like, dude, and that's my thing of like the whole bycatch term, you know, unless you're doing a scientific study on pygmy rattlesnakes, then everything is technically bycatch. That's the technical term. But if you're just out herping, I hate the term bycatch. That's just me. I hope that doesn't offend anybody. But if you're just out enjoying nature, trying to find some snakes, I hate the term bycatch, because you should just be enjoying what the hell you're finding, you know. And when people slap the label of bycatch on something like a corn snake, it's like, what is wrong with you? You know, that is literally one of the most beautiful snakes in the entire world. That's thousands of people would love to see in the wild, and you're just being like, oh, it's trash. You know what I mean?
Because people don't see the value.
No, man. And
they just fucking, and it's social stigma. Like, I mean, when everyone in the hobby just says like, oh, they're, common trash snakes or dirt snakes or whatever, like how Jake loves his dirt snakes, they just get tossed to the side. Plus they're
Right.
bred for so many morphs. Like when you go to a expo, there are so many of them that it is easy to kind of throw them on the back burner of species. But I mean, seeing them in the wild do that, it'll never get old. Like never.
Right. Especially when they got some size and they got a little attitude and they don't act like a captive one. Like they're a fun snake. They're a fun snake to catch. They flatten out their belly,
Yeah.
flashing off those checkers. And
yeah, dude, they're the shit.
I think they're all around fun. They make for fantastic pictures. Like
Yeah.
I don't think it gets much better. And I think those brown water snakes had to be the other. Like, I mean, that was finding that trio was a highlight for me for sure.
That was a pinnacle moment, man. Just that whole bridge area was so freaking loaded with brown waters. There was
right
in that area, probably had to be 20 plus in that area, if not more.
Right, and I had so for the folks listening, this was like a cement bridge that went over this. I guess it was like a creek. I don't know if it was like quite a river, but basically had some like wooden pillars off to the side of it, almost like say like probably the size of like a telephone pole or so, and we're like, hey, let's stop on top of this bridge. And I think I was the first one to jump out, and I look over this railing.
We stopped there to pee. We didn't stop to look for snakes. I had to pee and you had to pee. We're like, dude, stop here. I'm about to piss my pants. We got out to pee and then continue your story. Sorry.
And I look over the railing and there is just this Titanic brown water snake curled up perfectly on top of this pillar, with the male perfectly coiled. I mean, like heads next to each other, and the male's body is following the female's around in the coil. And it was like, none of us got a picture because we were so afraid of losing them.
Yeah.
We were so afraid of that. We were so afraid of them just hitting the water.
Well, because there was other ones just like diving in the water out of the trees.
Right.
They were everywhere.
Yeah.
Right. And I mean, to get three of them in hand, I mean, everybody was absolutely ecstatic. I mean, those brown waters have like the most bulldog face to them.
Fucking coffin heads, dude.
But they're also like some of the calmest Nerodia. Like
those three were the male only struck one time.
I don't think the female bit anybody.
Yeah.
But see, that's what is obviously, Chaz. I don't have anything, and I don't have any problem with what you said. But like when people are like, "Oh, those are super common Nerodia," for me, no, they're not. Like I don't see browns by me, like at all. I've only found browns up there by Gabe. Granted, I think I can go somewhere like an hour out of the county, and I can technically find them. They're not super common. But I've only found them by me or by Gabe and then by Sky. Only places I've ever found them. So that's why it's like, to some people, it's like, yeah, those are super common, corns, browns, whatever. You went all the way to South Carolina to find those. And it's like, it's not like that for everybody. Finding browns for me is huge because I don't see browns like that. And I love water snakes. You know me. If you know me, I love water snakes. Brown water snakes are my favorite water snakes in the world. But like, I don't see them. Who are you talking about common? They're not common for me. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like that for everybody, especially guys from like way up north, like from like our boys from Maine. Like,
and common or not, I don't think it negates like seeing an animal in its native range.
Not at all. Like,
I mean, we were way down a dirt road. I mean, way down this
Yeah.
dirt road. You know, there's nobody out there. There's nobody disturbing these animals. Uh, and then it was really cool when we had tried to put the biggest female back on top of that pillar, and I believe she was super gravid too.
Probably.
She was a pretty thick girl, and
Yeah,
we
she's
tried
a big girl.
tried to put her back on top of that pillar, and she just slugged off of that thing down into the water. And then we, just sat there and watched her for a few minutes, just swimming through the water. And it's just the appreciation, man.
Yeah.
That was a cool experience.
That was
Right,
probably, even though it wasn't a super rare find, that was probably my favorite catch of the whole trip, because I don't know if y'all talked about it while I was taking a leak, but me and Sky both I know we talked about it on the last one, but me and Sky both reached out and we grabbed both of those snakes at the exact same time.
Flippin Tin catch of the year, baby.
It was like that Flippin Tin catch, baby. Like, it was great. Because I think me and Sky both heard Chaz just go, grab it.
Yeah.
So Sky was a lot closer than I was. I about fell over this railing trying to grab both of them. Next thing I know, Sky's got them both too. And I was like holding on to him. He was holding on. He's like, bro, just let go and come around by me. I'm closer. I was like, okay. I just ran over by him and we worked him out, man.
That was
when I immediately saw them, I was like, oh God. I was like, somebody else has got to see these, because if I miss them, there's no way they're gonna believe me.
Yeah, because like,
so it's like I need help with this.
So I didn't know what was going on at first. I was going over to take a leak, and I saw one sitting on. It was closer. It wasn't like those were kind of over the railing thing there, and we had to reach over and get them. Right. When I was going over to take a piss, there was one sitting like right on the railing on another one of those little piling things. And I went to grab it and being like, oh, hey, look, I got a brown water snake. And I missed it. And all of a sudden, everybody's like, brown water, brown water. They were everywhere. Like, I saw Smitty miss one out of the tree after me and Sky grabbed those. All of a sudden, Tino walks up with another dump truck. And it was like, they were everywhere in that spot. And it wasn't like, and I think the other thing I loved about it was it wasn't like somebody said, hey, go to this bridge and they'll be there. We just so happened we were on a random road that some guy found a corn snake on the day before, like down by the landing. We're heading to this landing. We stopped to take a piss, and there was I bet you there was 10 of them around there. We only managed to grab 3 of them, but they were all over the place.
Fucking dipping and diving off all over.
Yeah, I just saw brown snakes, and like I know my tendencies to just grab stuff. Yeah. And when there's piles of brown snakes in coastal South Carolina, like brain needs a little bit to process before you start grabbing stuff.
Yeah.
So we don't end up in the hospital.
Yeah.
But man, I think we got the biggest ones.
Yeah.
The biggest ones we saw. And we went back there a second time, I think, on the way back. And I believe we drove out that way the next day also.
I know me and Sky did.
Some of us did. Yeah. And there was like nothing either of those other 2 times. So another situation where it's like we hit it perfect and we're able to see, a male and 2 females of a species that everybody, wanted to see. Everybody was happy to see. Just curled up, displaying some really cool behaviors.
Yeah, I know. It was either later, because we found those on Friday, right? I believe we found those on Friday. And then me and Sky were kind of soloing it because everybody kind of split up.
Right.
Me and Sky ended up going back down there. We stopped and there wasn't nothing. And that goes into the whole, like we say, herping is like 90% luck, man. And it's like we just so happened to go over that bridge. Me and Chaz just so happened to have to take a leak. We just so happened to stop at that spot. and it just so happened to be perfect timing. Like it was cold in the afternoon, the sun came out, everything was out basking. I think when me and Sky went over there, it was a little bit more overcast. It wasn't as sunny, or it may have been too sunny. It was a little too
it was
hot.
fucking hot as shit.
Yeah, so it was too hot. You know, when we were there, it was like just perfect. It was cooler, but the sun came out. They were basking, and it's just so luck of the draw, man. You know, you got to see these things, like especially water snakes. Like they like it when if it's super hot, you're really not going to see much of anything. But like this was like that perfect time of like everything was pretty much out basking because it had just been cool that morning. The sun came out, like the stars just aligned and everything was perfect, man. You know, and you know, common or not, that was an awesome find for everybody. The camaraderie in it all was the best part. You know,
yeah, it's hard to match that stoke.
Yeah,
100.
I mean,
over some brown water snakes. Like, come on,
it's
man.
I think it's easy to look at people and be like you watch like videos of people herping and whatnot, and you're like, man, they're yelling and screaming when they're finding that snake, and it's easy to be like, calm down, but it's like, man, I'm the one screaming and hooting and hollering. Like,
yeah, every time.
I have no place to talk. Like,
yeah, no. And I think that's one thing that everybody, like, if you watch guys on Instagram or YouTube and they're out herping and they're finding all this cool stuff, you know, and you think to yourself like, man, I've spent hours on hours in these woods and I don't find stuff as quick as they do or as often as they do. It's also like you have to realize like these guys are editing their videos. For every rock that they flip and they find something, they probably flip 20 other rocks and didn't find shit.
right.
You know what I mean? Like you have to realize like it takes time. Like we weren't finding snakes every 5 minutes out there. There were, like you said, there were several hour long spans that we didn't find shit.
And even I believe it was when we first got in the truck, it had to have been Friday. Like, we didn't find a whole ton that morning, given it was a little bit I believe it was a little bit later in the afternoon, but in an area like Francis Marion where it's so vast, like you can drive 30 miles down a road that's just completely not productive. Yeah. Whether it's a fresh burn on either side, and it's like a no accessible habitat situation, or the weather's just bad, but you could drive 30 miles in the opposite direction and have a great time.
Yeah.
And like that's where Gabe's knowledge really paid off, because he couldn't necessarily tell us where to find the snakes, but he was able to line us up on those burned areas where it's like burned on one side of the road, but the other side of the road, there's a little canal with some water, and there's green vegetation and forest. Yeah. So it's like those animals can come out of that burned area and have access to water and all that good stuff.
And I mean, the first spot he gave us, I'm not going to name roads, but Chaz, you were there. Chaz spotted the first snake of the trip. It was a banded water snake. And on a road, Gabe said, hey, go here. It's usually pretty productive. You might find some stuff. Me and Jack was driving. I was riding shotgun, and we had Chaz, Devin, and Zach in the bed. And all of a sudden, Chaz is like, snake, snake, snake. And we're like, I didn't see nothing. He's like, it's not on the road. And we jump out, and there's a banded water sitting on a log in the ditch right there, And again, it's not about this whole thing of like, oh, eagle eyes, like, granted, yes, you herp enough, you learn to see something, but a lot of times it's literally just so happens you happen to be looking at that exact spot at that exact second, and you spot something, and Chaz just Chaz pulled it right out, said snake on that log right there, and it was
I
perfect.
think I think you just learn the most probable places
Exactly.
for the animals to be. Like,
And we were
that's
working that perfectly too, because
right.
like me and Jack were in the truck. We were watching the roads. Y'all were in the back. It was easier for y'all to look in the ditches and see what was, going on along with the roads. Y'all were scanning more. Me and Jack were more focused on the roads. And it's like
Right.
having enough people in a scenario like that to be looking everywhere. It works out. Smitty did the same thing when me, Sky, and Smitty were on a drive. Smitty spotted a big old broadhead skink and a black racer that were off the road because me and Sky were locked in on the road.
Right.
Smitty spotted the stuff that was in the ditch, and I think that same drive, me and Sky spotted the rough green, Sky's lifer rough green, and then the most
You lost your
beautiful.
copperhead.
Yeah, don't even talk about it.
And
And that bandit, dude, that bandit was the most flawless bandit I think I've ever found
so red.
in the wild. Oh my god,
So red.
But yeah, dude, there's I'll be honest, like having a big group like that, it's like herding fucking cats, man. Like getting everybody together, go do something. But once you get it all in order and everybody's out there and locked into what they're doing,
It's a machine.
it's a machine, dude. You can find so much stuff because everybody's spread out. Everybody's looking for stuff. Everybody finds stuff. Even when you're road cruising, everybody's looking somewhere else.
Yeah. Right.
So like there's so much stuff. Like that bandit you spotted. If it was just me and Jack, we'd have drove right by that sucker.
How about my favorite one was when we were headed out to walk the one road, and we stopped on that bridge, and every one of y'all got out of both cars, and I am in the back of the pickup truck. I have a picture. All of y'all are looking at this water snake,
and you spot the other one.
I am way back above y'all guys, and I'm like, what about that one over there? And I haven't even left the bed of the truck yet.
That shit was awesome.
And he was just, and sometimes you just have to take a minute, scan and really look around, look for those, curled up silhouettes or, things that don't quite fit right in nature. Yeah, I think that's what it's all about.
Yeah, and that's a big thing that I always say on here is like even when you're hiking, like every now and then stop and just scan.
Right.
Look for that thing that stands out. Even a lot of times it's going to be a weird stick sitting kind of funny, a piece of rope, whatever. But like if you're hiking through somewhere, don't just scan and hike. Every now and then stop and just like do a circle, look around, scan really slow, stop, take everything in, walk a little bit more, do the same thing. Because a lot of people are like, the more ground I cover, the more snakes I'm going to find. That's not necessarily the case.
Right.
Like, take some time and really look around you, look up. That's a big thing that I've tried to compensate for, is like I'm always looking at the ground. Stop every now and then and look up in the trees, look in the branches, like look in the bushes. I can't tell you how many baby rat snakes I've seen just sitting, 3 feet off in a bush. Like take your time, look around, scan, and then keep moving if you don't see anything, But like a lot of times you get that feeling in your balls of like, something's here. If you get that feeling, stop and look around, because like us as field herpers, good habitat, what to look for. Like you get that feeling of like something might be here, stop and take a scan of what you're doing. And that's exactly what Chaz did in the back of a fucking truck. He stopped
35 miles an hour.
Yeah, he stopped and he looked around for a second of like, all right, I got to check out my other surroundings while everybody's over there looking at a water snake. Like, I'm going to look around everything else and see what else is around here, because obviously there's one, there might be more.
Oh, right. Not 35 miles an hour.
Yeah,
Stationary.
Yeah. In that
But-
scenario, yes. But you did see that bandit on a freaking log going
And-
35 miles an hour because
and-
Jack's a fucking lead foot in that truck. But
And if you're new to this whole field herping thing, and it just seems like there is so much territory, there's so much ground to cover. I always tell people, like, go near water. Like, start there. Start by finding frogs and green anoles. And like, for me, when I know I'm getting in like good habitat, it's like, okay, when I'm like flipping rocks and stuff, like looking for snakes, if I'm in good habitat, there's salamanders under those rocks also.
Absolutely.
And if I'm not seeing snakes, and I'm also not seeing salamanders or skinks, you know, that's telling me that's probably not a very good spot. If you're not seeing anything moving,
yeah,
you got to change up your game plan. You have to know when to realize that what you're doing is not working, and make the call to do something different. But I bring that up because we were talking about, like, you had said, like, as field herpers, like, you feel that like down inside you. And for the people that maybe don't have that, and are trying to figure out, like, what does good terrain feel like, or like, what does good habitat feel like, you'll start to feel that more when you start to see the smaller animals moving around. When you got the birds going, and you got some lizards climbing trees, and you got, you know, skinks and salamanders under rocks, like, those are good places to start. And those are also herps. I know I generally talk about field herping as a very snake oriented thing,
because
like,
that's what we do. We're snake people. That's what
right.
we strive for.
And and like, not that I'm not looking for lizards, but I guess the opportunities, like, there's just not that many, especially like at a place like Francis Marion. It's like, what, maybe 4 or 5 different lizard species there. Some fence lizards, green anoles,
3 species of glass lizard,
3 species of glass lizard,
skinks. There was like 3 or 4 species of skink, I think, 2 or 3 maybe.
So yeah, definitely. That's another good point. Like, there's plenty of opportunities to find herps that aren't snakes. If your intention is to just go out and see animals, I think find a spot, finding some water, and starting from there is probably your best bet, which is kind of what our game plan was with Francis Marion. I think we realized pretty quickly that outside of road cruising, that if it was really dry, we weren't seeing a whole lot.
No,
it was just too hot. You need
No.
those microclimates down near that water.
And that's the thing. A lot of, like, everything needs water.
Right.
Like, everything's going to be in the vicinity of water. So if there's water nearby, it's likely going to be productive. But I like your mindset of, like, you know, if there's stuff like frogs, salamanders, lizards, stay in that area, because when there is prey, there is predator.
Right.
Remember that. If you
And
see,
there is-
you know, these things aren't eating frozen thawed lab mice in the field.
they
they're
are.
eating they're eating anything that they can find. So that's fence lizards, that's anoles, that's frogs. That's a lot of stuff. So if you're seeing other small things that could potentially be prey, there's likely predator. Sky, you.
Can I add to the point that you guys are
course.
fucking just nailing on right now? This also feeds into our challenge that we have still running for Flipping Tin. Don't just don't just put yourself in a box when you're out herping. If you aren't finding snakes in an area, like Chaz is saying, not only do you need to be looking for the prey of these items or the target that you're looking for, but if you're not finding your target, start looking for the other stuff. Enjoying the little things that you think are so minute are actually way cooler than you are. So many people in our group that are these, big name breeders in the hobby are literally geeking out on the smallest and most minute things like fucking toads and fucking newts and little fucking bush lizards that no one even cares about that we're getting for $8, but we realize how fucking cool they are because we've taken the time to, sit back and enjoy it and take it in for what it is. And that's what the whole challenge is go out and find these salamanders, go out and find these frogs, go out and find these turtles, because they're just as cool as your target snake species that you might be out looking for.
Right.
We are herping. We're not snaking.
Exactly.
Right? If you're out just looking for snakes, call it snake hunting. Call it snaking.
And that's
if you don't care about anything else, you're not herping. We as herpers, we want to find herps. That's not just snakes. That's reptiles and amphibians. That is a very broad thing. That's not just snakes. Obviously, us as snake people, snakes are the
pinnacle target.
The pinnacle. That was the word. Thank you. That they're the pinnacle for us. But like if you are a herper, you're a true herper. You care about all of it. Every single thing you find. Like when I was in Tennessee, I was out herping. Yeah, I was in Tennessee, not last weekend, the weekend before on a family vacation. Spent some time, a little bit of time herping, not as much as I wanted to, but I found my lifer red salamander out there.
Beautiful.
I lost my shit.
As you should have.
I freaked out because I saw and it was perfect because I saw this rock. There wasn't a lot of rocks that I wanted to like disturb. I flipped over a bunch, but I saw this one nice big flat rock that was, surfaced enough that I could flip over without disturbing too much. And I was like, there's something under there. I know there's something under there. And I grabbed this rock and I flipped it, and there's beautiful red salamander sitting under this rock. And I lost my shit. I was so happy to find this little salamander, man. Like my sister was with me. She was all excited. Got a picture of her holding it. Like it was just an awesome experience. And then that same token, I found a box turtle on the side of a freaking mountain.
That's so wild.
I see box turtles semi-frequently, but like the fact that I found this thing in the middle of a trail on the side of a freaking mountain, like that's crazy. Like I've never imagined box turtles being at that high of an elevation, but like this thing was like way, way up on the side of this mountain, just chilling.
I think another thing to realize is like with that red salamander is like that is like how you found it is the only way you're going to experience that.
Exactly.
Where are the red salamanders in the captive hobby? Please show me.
Yeah, tell me where they are, please.
So going out and flipping that rock that's your only chance at an interaction of experiencing that creature. And like that is true for a lot of other animals.
Yeah.
In the hobby. It's like that's why I look at like rough green snakes are another snake that I will never be disappointed to find.
If somebody tells me they found, I just found a rough green, I'd slap them. What are you talking about? Just a rough green, dude. Like
if they said that to me, they think I'm really fucking fruity for how I acted when I see my rough green.
That was honestly one of my favorite moments, dude. Was like you and I finding that rough green with Smitty. Like me and Sky full on man hugged when we found this thing. Sky was about 6 inches from running this fucker over.
Dude, we met like a fucking 1999 goddamn sitcom movie. Like we came around the front of the car simultaneously and like touched tips, bounced off each other and then caught the snake together and then hugged. Like, Jesus.
What's so unique about that, about the rough greens, is like you don't see that many. It's they don't have a whole lot of eggs, but it's like every one that it's like they don't have a whole lot like going in their favor, it seems like. But every time I find a rough green, it's like healthy and like just ready to ready to bite and tag you, and like they're just a fun snake to find, man. And I don't think I know that if that snake was like an Asian rat snake species or something, and it looked just like that thing, I'd be putting it in a terrarium. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Dude,
Telling you,
Paul,
it doesn't matter about like how it eats, how it lays eggs, like none of that matters. Like I would, and it's like gets me to remember that like it helps put that animal's position in the environment like in perspective in my mind of like, okay, this is like a really badass snake, because
Yeah.
it is like in the middle of nowhere, Francis Marion, like just this tiny little thing, and just thriving,
bright green, yellow, and blue, dude. Like, what the
right,
hell?
It's
right,
like, you know, for me, like rough greens, and this is almost why I consider myself lucky every time I find a rough green, because that thing is a living and breathing vine. You know,
Without-
they're not uncommon. You know, they're everywhere. There's a lot of
yeah,
rough greens around, but finding them is the issue.
Dude,
right,
that video
Because they
of-
blend in so well. They're up in the foliage. You're not going to see them 9 times out of 10. Consider
that's right.
yourself lucky if you road cruise a rough green, which we did,
Mhm.
which was insane. And I'm pretty sure me and Sky simultaneously, we saw this thing on the road. Simultaneously, we both went, rough green, you know, and like we almost were out of the car before Sky could even put the e-brake on, you know.
Like when, dude, that video I took releasing it back into the bush, like it disappeared into the bush. Like I lost it on the
Yeah.
screen. I was like, where the fuck did it go?
Yeah. That's why, like, some of these things, like, and that's why I don't take any find for granted, because you have to be at that exact spot at that exact time to see that. And like, I guarantee you, if even if we would have left camp 5 to 10 minutes earlier,
Right.
we wouldn't have seen it.
If
You
we
know what I
went,
mean?
if you wouldn't have lost that copperhead, we wouldn't have seen it.
There you go. So shut up about it.
Hey, hey,
You're
Chaz.
right. Like,
Chaz, before we keep tangenting, what's your time like right now?
My laptop is hanging at 3%.
Okay, let's hit you with a closing question then, brother.
Sweet.
You want to hit him with it, Jake, or you want me to rip him?
yeah, man. I go ahead and rip them, man. Let's hear it from
All
you.
right, man. The one of the main hitters for Flippin Tin. Out of all the things you've experienced in the field, you know, what have you brought back to your own collection that you can say, you know, that's what's really changed your style of keeping by, observations you've made while being out herping and in the field and stuff that once you saw it in the wild, there's no way you're going back on it. So you had to bring it home and implement it to your style of keeping, you know?
And I think the enclosures behind you are a very good example
Exactly.
of your field herping
We've
experience.
both been to Chaz's house, and his whole reptile room is absolutely immaculate, A-grade enclosures. You would literally have to pull out a magnifying glass to find any imperfection in his room.
Thank y'all. As far as implementing like a specific like husbandry tactic, you're saying that like something that I saw in the field. I think
Anything that you've brought back from herping, or something that you've seen or witnessed, or something that you've been like, okay, I noticed this, I'm gonna try it in my husbandry and it worked, and you're like, holy fuck.
Like how has field herping influenced the way you keep snakes?
I think field herping helps you. Man, this is like I didn't expect this question.
It's a hard one, especially
Man,
for
it's a
guys like
doozy.
us who take in so much. I'll try to help you while you're thinking, because clearly Chaz can't go out into nature and see a snake in the wild and then go back to his house and not implement something that he saw. Because look at his cages behind him. They're all naturalistic. And in some way, he saw this animal in its natural environment and said, you know what? I'm going to do my best to replicate that in some way and fashion so I can observe these same behaviors in my home. And he's done that. I see it time and time again every day from the messages you send me and the pictures you send me. So you've at least done that.
I think field herping has really helped me like learn how to think about animal behavior, because when the animal is out, like there's no other influence. Like when you just sit back and watch a black rat snake, probing through holes, or even if you find one, I guess this is a good example. I think in my previous years I've been more willing to just like give animals like any size hide. It's just like, oh, you have a hide, like you'll hide in it. Whereas like I think the tightest hide the animal can fit in is like what I realized is like actually the preference.
Yeah.
And that came from finding the animals in the smallest places they could fit in. It's like, how did this black rat snake fit behind that bark? Well, that's truly where it felt most secure. I wish I had some examples where I can show you, but I have like some flat pieces of cork bark in these cages that have a rock on top of them. And I forget who brought up this idea of contact security, but it's the idea that if the animal doesn't have the pressure,
Yep,
on that pressure on the sides of it, or
feeling
the
it,
ability
feeling-
to push its coils out, like
Yeah,
it
Touch
is not going to
being
feel
able
as
to
secure.
touch all sides.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That's why
And
the little paper towel rolls are such a useful,
They're
effective.
great.
right. And I feel like they don't want to have too much room above their head. I feel like having too much room above their head also feels like a vulnerability.
Yep.
Flat hides.
Which I guess is something you could take from like tin flipping. It's like I have always found like a stack of tin is more productive if you like lay a log over the top of it, or if the tin is heavy enough that it gives that contact security for the animal.
Yeah.
I'm riding on like 1%, where you're gonna lose me.
Well, I want to bring up one thing. If you look in Chaz's background, you see a tub with a yellow lid behind it. I think that's a good example of hide boxes as well as nest boxes. Those are big snakes going in there, and I assume those
Right.
are filled up with substrate in order for them to get down to either lay eggs or just get a humid hide.
They are,
And
and there's also a smaller hide right on top of it.
right on top of it. Yes, exactly. And I think that's a great example of learning what you've learned from field herping to captive keeping. Like I think right there, what everybody can see if you're tuning in live or if you're watching this, like that's a great example of something like that, being able to bury down to either lay eggs or just to get a humid hide, because like you don't want your entire enclosure. I think he's gone.
Yeah.
Oh no, he's still there. We're gonna say this real quick. Chaz, you still there? Chaz? Oh.
Chaz.
I think we're about to lose him.
We got to be on residual battery.
Yeah, he froze now, but yeah, I think that's a perfect example of Like you don't want your enclosure to be completely wet because the environment that they live in isn't completely wet, but that gives them an area to find a wet area because that's what they do in their environment is they might be in a dry area, but they'll go find an area that is wet. Hold on. Chaz came on his phone. Add him to the stage. There he is.
We almost made it.
Yeah, we were almost there. But as I was saying, like those hide tubs that you have, like either for nest boxes or just like a humid hide, like they work great because like in a natural environment, it's not going to be wet all the time. Granted, yes, in the southeast it's humid, but like a lot of times when it's dry, these animals will seek out a wet area, and that's what you are providing with humid hides and things like that. Is like it might be dry, but they want some humidity. So they go to these areas to either just get some humidity because they want to, or they need an area to lay eggs. And that's again, a natural occurring thing
Right.
that they do, you know?
That's
Like,
the Blue Beauty cage down there, and they just laid eggs in there Monday.
Congratulations on that.
dude, you're having a killer season, man.
Yeah.
I'm trying. The other cool thing, even though that box isn't super pretty,
It doesn't have to be.
it is a taller hide, and since it's pressed up in the corner there, they're also those Blue Beauties are more than happy to cram themselves just behind it.
Yep.
They don't need to be curled up with their belly contacting the ground. They're more than happy to cram themselves in whatever spot they can. Like if they're in there, they want to be in there. If they didn't want, they'd move.
But and also inside of the hide, like there's something to be said for small, tight hides. There's also be something for said like a tub in that scenario. It's filled with dirt. Like, no, they may not be touching all sides of it, but they're still completely covered. That dirt and all that is still compacted over them, so they still have that tight area in that tub. Like, you want to give them a little bit more space if they're laying eggs, but like it still gives them the opportunity to be compacted inside of this hide,
And with there's peat moss in there, so there's more opportunities for like a digging behavior opposed to just digging in the regular substrate. So
Peat
it's like
moss is huge.
it's like you can still get a different behavior even if you just put an ugly tough toad, in the cage. I'm more worried about the functionality and what behaviors it's going to bring out over the visual
Aesthetic.
appearance of the yellow lid. I'm not concerned about that.
I couldn't give like honestly, like, yes, I have some naturalistic enclosures, but like I am way more for like purpose use, over it looking pretty. It may, functionality. That's it's perfect.
Right. And I have
I got
some other I have some other like rock cave style like reptile hides, but they have their downfalls, like their texture, they're hard to clean, like
they cost $30 a piece.
They cost $30 freaking a piece. They harvest a ton of bacteria, they grow mold. Like these HDX totes, they get gross. You hit them with a little bit of bleach and they're good as new.
Those yellow lidded ones are the same exact tubs I use for like my bigger cages and carpet pythons.
Yeah, there's all sorts of cool things you can do. I've seen people like cut holes in the lid big enough to like drop deli cups down in. So like the lid suspends that deli cup. I've seen people do like PVC tubes or like cork tubes like down into the tubs. So it's like figuring out how to use what you have, right? Yeah. Because I still have to clean 50 snakes, and they for some reason just love to climb out of the hide, and
Yeah.
poop on top of it. So
And all of this, like, whether, like, because we're not like here to push like naturalistic versus rat keeping, like, but we are
right,
here to give your snakes all the things they need. All of these things are things you can do right there. A whole stack of racks. All of these things are things you can do in a rack system or a cage. You have to modify based on the enclosure. Like, granted, no, you can't have a 12-inch tall tub for laying in a V70, but I know
give you
exactly
guys a
what
little
you're
look.
about to do. Like, this is a naturalistic tub that
Yep.
Chad's about to open up.
I was just
You,
about to go into those.
look at that. You can do all of this in
Put
tubs.
your phone closer.
Let me
You
see if I can flip it for y'all.
you can do
If
all
you
of
guys
this in a
aren't doing
tub.
it already, you need to go on Instagram and follow More Than Morelia. That's Chaz's Instagram page. You can see the awesome two females that turned themselves into a double-headed blue dragon and laid an awesome two clutches for him in the things we were just talking about. And you can see some of these awesome naturalistic tub setups. It's not about what it is, it's about what you do with it. It doesn't matter if it's a PVC enclosure or it's a tub. It's the same dimensions if they are the same size. I'm just talking in relevance. It's the same
Right.
thing. It's a square, it's a box, it's about what you put inside, and it's about how you use it. And Chaz has figured out a way to naturalistically keep in a tub rack setup.
And even then, like, it's not like, for me, like, no, I don't do fur because I have a million tubs to, or, right here, as you can see. They don't all have wood. They don't all have all these different things, but every single one of those tubs has a perching option. They all have a big water bowl. They all have two hides. Most of them have a humid hide, or I use them on cypress mulch so I can spray it down. Like, all of these things, like, you don't have to keep these things in a massive, like, and, the bigger the better. Like, you want to give them more space, go ahead and do that. But if you're a rat keeper, nothing is holding you back from doing that tub naturalistic.
Not at
Right.
all.
Nothing at all.
And there's
Like,
so many middle ground ways to do it. Like, like Jake saying in between what just Chaz just showed you. I mean, Chaz is an over the top freaking do it A grade no matter what. You just seen, as much shit as you can fit in a 2x2 freaking PVC shoved into a tub. What was that, a V28 tubs or some shit?
that was a
That's a
V70.
that's a 70. Yeah.
Oh, it was
that's
a 70? Okay.
Yeah.
But I mean, come on.
This show's so funny with the front camera.
No, it looks great, man.
It looks freaking awesome.
Like, there's so much you can do, whether you keep in cages, whether you keep in racks. There's always naturalistic ways to keep your stuff, and whether it looks naturalistic or not, if you can, the functionality, like, it doesn't have to look naturalistic to
bring out the naturalistic
yes, to exhibit naturalistic behaviors. Like,
Correct.
it can be wire perches with a little fake plant and some tube, like a paper towel tube hides and a plastic hide. All of those things.
The black PVC drain tubing, you can cork it and twist it any way you want,
Yes, all of those make for naturalistic behaviors. This isn't like, obviously, if you make beautiful naturalistic enclosures like Chaz does, that's fantastic. But there are so many things that you can do to make your snakes exhibit naturalistic behaviors. It doesn't have to look like a piece of the forest. If it does, that's fantastic. More on you for that. But we challenge all of you to, even no matter how you keep, to make them exhibit these naturalistic behaviors.
Exactly.
It doesn't have to look like a slice of the rainforest. Even more on you if it does, but it doesn't have to. If you're on a budget, you're struggling, like, whatever. Like me, I have very few very naturalistic enclosures. I have a couple, yeah, but all of my stuff gives my snakes the opportunity to show their naturalistic behaviors. Every single one. All of these tubs, all my cages behind me, they might not look like a slice of the rainforest, but they can all get off the ground. They all have big water dishes. A lot of them have humid hides. Like it's things that small things you can do to make the habitat for your snake that much better.
I'll give you one more example. So even this one doesn't have like crazy wood, but it has different options for the animal to do different things.
Nice big water dish too.
Yeah, a big water dish, multiple hides.
There we go.
Like, come on, man.
Bright orange snake.
Yeah, nice piece of flat cork for that animal to get under. And like there's plenty of things you can use to simulate that behavior. Like if it's not cork, like plenty of us have old 6-quart, Sterilite lids.
The lids were
laying around that we're not using, and if you just throw the lid on there and find a 4-ounce rock from outside and put it on top, I mean, you've just created a different environment for that animal to use.
And I'm gonna use a perfect example. What this podcast is called Flippin Tin.
Right.
You think Flippin Tin's natural? It's not. Like there's a lot of trash out there in the woods in the world, but guess what? There's a lot of snakes and all that. You can use anything in these snake enclosures. You think putting out a piece of tin out in the woods is natural? It's not. But you flip that sucker and there's snakes under it. Like that's
an
like
artificial environment for that.
Yes, like you can create artificial habitat and environments for these things that they love and they will utilize. You put tin out in a forest, they have all the trees, all the pine straw, all the logs in the world, but guess what? They made a habitat under that piece of tin that you threw out.
Right. And the and that's the tie back to the herping is, and that was like the premise of this trip is getting together and learning how we can like just better appreciate these things, just better appreciate, better treat them, better care for them.
Exactly.
The whole premise of this show, brother.
Right.
That's exactly all it's about.
That's
we are
get you on here to preach it with us.
Flippin Tin, like obviously this is field herping oriented, but what we really want for Flippin Tin is to bridge the gap between field herpers and captive keepers. Like to make field herpers not feel so weird about captive keeping, and then to get the captive keepers out Flippin Tin more.
Exactly.
Like that's what we want for this more than anything.
I'll be the first to admit it is really easy to get disconnected to what these things are actually like, to what these animals are actually like, what they actually do.
Exactly. Yep. And as soon as you start field herping and you really learn some of the habits of these things, you figure them out, it will change how you keep everything. 100%.
You can't go back on it a lot of the times, man.
Yeah. You see stuff you can't deny what you saw in the field. Like everybody's so afraid to get their snakes down to the low 70s. I find more snakes in the low 70s than I do when it's in the mid 80s, dude.
100%.
It's you learn so much from field herping, and whether you keep natives or exotics, like it's all relative. It all applies, and that's what this is about.
Right.
So, but with that said, Chaz, I know you're kind of crunched for time, so thank you so much for coming on. You were a perfect guest for what we're trying to achieve with this podcast. So thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to hang out with us. We're going to throw you backstage here in a minute. You're welcome to hang out and chat with us when we're done, or if you need to dip, go ahead and dip. We're going to go over some of our updates real quick because we're already over the 2-hour mark. But if anybody wants to check you out and what you're doing, where can people find you?
All of my stuff is on Instagram at More Than Morelia.
Perfect.
Make sure you follow because you're missing out if you don't. Chaz has got the sickest collection. Not only does he have a wide variety, but like we just said, he doesn't do shit basic. Not one bit. He's over the top in the best way possible. So
I appreciate that.
That's more underscore than underscore Morelia, right?
Right. I believe if you type it straight,
You
it should
type
come
it
up.
in. Yeah, it should come up.
I want to give a shout out to Mr. Jack Oliver for helping put that trip on because he was just a total rock star, man. I mean, we had like a whole Excel document that told everybody like exactly what was going on. I mean, it was excellent.
Y'all put the time and effort into that trip, man.
Honestly. Yeah, so I think if you're wanting to do something like this yourself, like find somebody that is willing to help you organize it and just get a date on your calendar and make it happen, because you'll sit here talking about it. But until you set that date and really have intentions of going on that trip that you and all your boys are talking about, like, it's not going to happen.
No. Exactly. You guys have started the ball and it's rolling, and we are going to keep this snowball rolling until it's fucking massive, dude. We're going to cause
Florida next year.
And because of you, Chaz, like, we'll talk about this more in detail if we actually work it out. But me and Sky are talking about possibly doing a Flippin Tin chapter for the fall. Like, a bit, and it'll be like based off of what you've done, but like you do the spring, me and Sky can host the fall if we can work it out and a good date. Like, we're toying with the idea, and it'll be based off the More Than Morelia trip. So it'll be the Flippin Tin chapter.
Hell yeah.
In the fall section. So if we can work it out, it'll be a thing, and if we can do it, people will know about it. But
it'll be for sure.
Yeah. So, but thank you for inspiring so many people, man. And anybody out there, no matter where you at, you don't have to be in the Southeast. Wherever you are, take Chaz as the perfect example to start something like this. Like, Chad, this is the first time anybody around us has done anything like this, of trying to do this, and Chaz started it by himself from scratch. And don't be afraid to do it yourself. If you want to do this, no matter where you are, southeast, northeast, southwest.
Yeah, we had guys from Florida to Maine, baby.
Yeah.
From fucking Florida to Maine, all meeting up. So there's no excuse. If you plan it out far enough, you can make it happen. Make it happen. You'll never regret it. Like, you'll be tired when it's over, but you'll never regret it.
Set it up, do it the right way. And then Chaz, I'm sure, like, would you mind if somebody wants to do something like this, can they hit you up for some advice?
Right. Okay? And if you would like to join us on one of these trips, it's not something that we want to post as a public event, because we want it to be tighter, and we're not going to post locations and stuff like that for the public to see. So it's something that if you want to go with us on this 2025 trip, send me a message and let me know, and we'll get you the details. But it's not going to be something that, like, we're not going to say on, we'll say like, oh, Francis Marion, but like, you won't get any more information than that if you're not like locked in planning on coming on the trip. And that's for the safety and security of the animals. And
because this is not a field collecting trip. This is not people trying to, establish a new locality. This is, guys going in, finding snakes, having a good time, and the camaraderie about it all. So if you're interested in setting up something like that in your area, definitely talk to Chaz, and I'm sure he'd be more than happy to give you some pointers on how he's done it. And he does it the right way. So
Thank
Well, I
you again,
appreciate you guys.
brother.
Thank y'all.
Yeah, thank
thank
you.
for
Thank
your
you,
time.
man. Like I said, if you want to hang out backstage while we go over some updates with us, you're more than welcome. But if you got to dip, go ahead and dip, my brother.
Sweet. I'm gonna get out of here.
All
All
right.
right.
Thank
Have
you,
a good
man.
night.
Have a good
Thank you,
night.
man.
Good chatting with y'all.
You too,
See you,
brother.
brother.
Bye.
Hell yeah.
All right. That was a great episode, man. Chaz is a fantastic guy. Be sure to check him out at more than Morelia. But we're getting kind of long into this. So, Sky, do you have any updates for field herping that you've done recently? I know you said you and Preston did some stuff.
Yeah, real quick. I can't remember. Did on the last episode, did I talk about that quick little wave I had got on road cruising where it was like
No.
a 2-minute
No.
period?
Yeah, go ahead and go into that.
Mistakes. Yeah, so I was cruising one of my main roads and I was hitting it in the golden hour. And this road, I've hit it so many times now that it's basically in my head it's broken up into like 3 or 4 different sections where I can see primarily my rat snakes and my like coral and venomous in one spot, and then there's a section of it where I'm gonna more majorly see my garter snakes and ribbon snakes, and then after that it's a section where I see nothing but water snakes, ribbon snakes, and pygmies, and the occasional glass lizard. Well, I'm coming to the spot where I see the water snakes, and it's like this little it's like 150 to 100-yard area, and I see this ribbon snake zooming across the road. So I hop out of my car really quick. By the time I go to grab it, it's off. It's wiggling so fast it gets off the road, and I look up in the road, and there's a freaking water snake coming off of the road as another water snake is coming onto the road, trailing it. So I fucking book it on foot down to there really quick, catch the one that was coming onto the road, check it out really quick, run to the other side of the road, see the other one dipping off into the water. And I'm like, holy shit, that was crazy. That's 3 snakes in like a minute. So I run back to my car. I get in my car and I start creeping along. I get to 5 feet past where I just saw those 2 snakes crossing, and there's another ribbon snake crossing. So I hop out, catch the ribbon snake, take a quick video, throw it on the side of the road, look back up the road because now I'm walking back to my car, and just back to where I just drove from, not 25 yards behind me, is now another fucking banded water snake crossing the road. So in less than 2 minutes, I saw 3 banded water snakes and 2 ribbon snakes all crossing in a fucking 50-yard span in one little patch of road, and it was a straight one direction movement, dude. Craziest, coolest fucking shit. I was all fucking jazzed up, and I was like, all right, I need to do a bunch of passes right here. And I don't know if it was just because my car was on the road doing tight passes, but it was that I either caught the end of the window or it was that short of a window, and those snakes were crossing that thick, that fast. But I thought that was a super cool observation. After that, I had my boy Preston come down, our boy Preston come down. He was helping me with the move. He only had 1 day. I was like, look, dude, I'll treat you to food, dinner. I'll give you some cages and we'll go road cruising. Let's try to fucking, get you another red rat. Like I said, it's been 10 months since we've got a red rat together. And we hit one of my favorite roads. I'm like, we get onto the road. And I'm like, yo, dude, I've been having good luck here. If I haven't seen a DOR, I've seen a live snake. So hopefully we see something. We're a quarter mile into the road when I say that. A half mile into the road, it's me and Preston, so we like joking. I tell him, hey, brother, we find a red rat tonight. We're touching tips. And we start laughing. We keep driving. He's got my phone, so he's picking some music. Obviously,
I'm pretty sure I was texting you both in the middle of all this.
and you're texting us. So as he simultaneously plays some freaking metal full blast on my radio, it starts with he yells fucking snake at the top of his lungs as that song's coming on. I fucking rip the brakes. He's fucking hopping out. I'm going, what the hell? I'm like turning down the radio. He's yelling at me to hop out. As soon as I hop out of the truck, he's like, I guess we're touching tips. I'm like, no freaking way. Sure enough, not even a mile into the road, we get our target for the night, the target that he's been wanting to see for, the last 5, 6, 7 trips that he's been down. Beautiful corn snake, young juvenile. We were stoked. Kept driving, got a couple bandits. Unfortunately, a car ended up coming up behind us, and everyone knows I'm fucking hella paranoid and shit. So when cars get behind me, I get all fucking weird. And I thought we saw a
That you
snake on
do.
the side of the road.
That
Yeah,
you do.
I've just been in too many weird scenarios. PTSD kicks in.
I
And
feel you.
so fucking, I'm like, I don't know, that car's a little close. We'll fucking get to the end of the dirt part. We'll loop back for it and double check. Well, we do that, and sure enough, we come back, and it's a fucking freshly hit corn snake. So I did see a snake, and I should have fucking stopped. But yeah, so we were fucking end of the night on that little lowy, but we were still fucking stoked that the corns are moving in the area. We at least got one little beautiful juvenile. So haven't been out since, but been busy as shit. Only other good update I got is I made a fucking huge life accomplishment, huge life goal. Fucking Barron's Racer laid a clutch. Super stoked on that. We're 11 days in, looking strong so far. Couldn't be more fucking rock hard on that. I mean,
Awesome,
if you
man.
know me, I got a goddamn Barron's Racer tattooed on my fucking arm, so this at least solidifies it a little bit more.
Yeah.
But yeah, fucking stoked. Not much going on, but that's what's happened since the last time we've spoken to the peeps.
You also did like a whole ass move, so
Yeah,
like,
I'm in a new fucking location. Fucking life's turned upside down. We're fucking rocking out, but
yeah.
it's also
So there's a reason Sky hasn't been herping as much as he normally does, and like from talking to him recently, like y'all like Sky's been balls to the wall on everything between the move. He's had to take care of all of his animals on top of working, on top of everything. He's basically doing all of this himself. So that is part of the reason why we've been kind of MIA for the last month. We hate that we haven't been able to get an episode in, but like we've both been insanely busy. So
I've legit had Preston over for 10 hours of us moving. And
that was it.
Other than that, I've had no help. I had 2 days notice for my move, and I've had my schedule 100% blocked up for a 2-month span. So to let you know a little bit of how busy I've been, I haven't fucking slept, y'all.
Yeah. So just give us a little break here on how we've been doing. I know we've been slacking on episodes, but it's about to get back to normal. We should be back on track from here on out, at least
we should be
until
good.
something comes up.
We should be good.
For me, with updates, I believe since the last episode, me and Smitty have gone cruising a couple times.
Killing it.
Yeah, like, and I'm gonna like, I don't, if you know me, I don't like tooting my own horn, but toot toot. I found everybody talks. I've talked about this road that I found like by myself. Nobody said go look at this road. This was hey, this looks like a good road. I'm gonna go check it out. And oh my god, has it delivered?
Pay the fuck off.
Yes. So I have found multiple species on this road. It's full of garters, full of ribbons, full of bandeds, full of rat snakes, both yellow and reds. And this night, there's one night. The first night, Smitty came out with me. I talked him into going out to here, and it was a little slow at first, and I was like, oh, like man, of course, the one night Smitty comes with me, he's gonna think I'm full of shit. Like this road sucks because anybody who knows him knows he talks a lot of shit. And dude, it was insane. We got out there probably 30 minutes to an hour before sunset. Nothing was moving. I was like, fuck, man, like I really screwed the pooch on this. This was just a bad night. But dude, it was like a switch flipped and there were snakes just like everywhere. It started with a couple copperheads. We jumped out on a couple copperheads. Then we got to one spot. We found, now mind you, at this spot, I hadn't found anything but really baby copperheads. Everything was small. Basically, 90% of what I found at this point had still had the green tail. Like these were baby copperheads. We got out to a spot, like we saw one copperhead. We jumped out, saw that copperhead, and then boom, there's another copperhead like right there within eye shine. So we get those off the road, take our pictures, whatever. Some beautiful individuals, just incredible, amazing, beautiful animals.
The contrast and
Yeah.
looks is fucking crazy out
Yeah.
there, man.
Yeah, it's nuts. And as we're getting back into the truck, I'm walking by, and right by my truck, I'm telling you, I was not that far from hitting this thing. I'm getting into my truck, and there's a little itty bitty baby right there by the other two we had just found. So it was 3 copperheads right there. And then there's this section, I call it my rat snake section. Like there's this section of like several, probably 300-400 yards that I have found. I have not found any rat snakes on this road other than in this like section of the road. First one I found was like a little baby yellow. Full disclosure, I collected it. I'm not afraid to say that. Like it was a very young juvenile, and if you want to argue with me about it, you can message me and I'll tell you why I kept it. But if you know anything, a lot of baby snakes don't last to adulthood. That's just fact. If they're small, they likely won't make it that much longer based on between cars and predators and all that. So I didn't have much of a problem collecting it. So I did keep this snake. This was prior to, I found this one by myself. It was raining. I kept it. So this is like a little locality project that I'm working on because I love this road. So on the same stretch, like that same night, me and Smitty found. We went 2 different nights that same week. The first night we didn't find. I don't think we found any yellows. Jack said, "I'm calling the police."
I can't see the fucking chat, man. I've been missing it.
Well, Jack, you can go ahead and call the police because I didn't do anything illegal. But so we hit this section. And so, dude, it's so crazy, like road cruising. I swear snakes like see a car go by and then they know it's safe to pass. Because this happened 2 different times, is where we went by, I turned around, came back, and there was a snake there. And we hadn't been past that spot for 5 minutes.
No shit.
So we went past the spot, didn't see anything. I turned around, come back, nice sized yellow rat snake. It wasn't like a full blown, like big ass adult, but it was a sub adult. You know, I'll be honest, if I thought it was a female, I probably would have kept it and, taken it for the locality. But I'm not going to say it was 100% a male, but it appeared to be a male. And I didn't want to take the chance of taking it home. And I don't re-release stuff. So like that's just the thing. If I take it home, it's going to stay with me. So I didn't want to take the chance of it being a male and
being stuck with it.
Yes, like I didn't want to do that. So it was a good sized animal, probably about 3 foot. Wonderful individual, very very calm, very very beautiful. It was just immaculate. Everything about it was perfect. So we took our pictures and we moved on. Found a few other snakes. And then, so at that same spot that we found that yellow rat, we made a pass, went all the way down, didn't find much. We were working our way back. At this point, it's getting to like golden hour, and we see a little snake in the road, slam on brakes, don't know what it is. We hop out, little baby corn snake, tiny little sucker. And again, full disclosure, I collected this individual. It was fresh out of the egg. It was in its first year, going on its second. Very very healthy, very very beautiful. Like in my head, I was like, I don't want this thing to die. This thing was perfect eating size for literally a big bullfrog. Like anything would have eaten this thing. So no, I didn't feel too bad about taking it. I'm not here to, sugarcoat anything and lie. I collected this individual. So I kept that, made the pass. We came back. And at this point, again, we're still within golden hours. Sun's kind of going down. And me and Justin are kind of talking. And I'm like, man, I kind of want to make this short pass again because like everything's like kind of moving right here. Like this seems to be the spot for rat snakes. And he's like, man, whatever you think, like, go ahead. And I'm like, all right. So I got to the spot to where it was because they're on this road. There's a really long section of like old blacktop. And then there's a shorter section of like new blacktop where I always find these rat snakes. So I got to the section I finished the section of new blacktop. I was like, dude, I'm going to turn around. This feels right. I don't know. I'm going to turn around. So I whipped around in the middle of the road. I'm working the way back. The train passed. So we had to wait on the train for a little bit because it goes over some train tracks. Train went by. As soon as we went over the train tracks, we found a ribbon snake. I was kind of quick with that, took some pictures, let it go, got it off the road, kept going. Not even 25 yards, maybe 50 down the road, big snake in the road. I'm like, oh my God, what is that? Slam on brakes, throw it in park, jump out. Just this fucking massive, beautiful corn snake
That shit
on this. On the same path, dude. And I mean, this thing was textbook of like, you saw the pictures. Like,
yeah.
Oh, I got a picture somewhere. I got to pull this thing up.
Please do. That thing is so red.
This thing was like just you think about a perfect corn snake. This was the perfect corn snake, in my opinion. So and this picture is not great by any means. It's not the best picture. I was using my cell phone, and it was dark. But look at that snake, man.
God.
Just the perfect black borders around the saddles, little connecting saddles right here. Just like this thing was amazing. And no, in case anybody asks, I did not collect this. I do not collect adult snakes at all. So this thing was just perfect. There's another shot of it in some better lighting. There's an in-hand shot. I mean, just immaculate, man. And like this to me was cool because like again you learn field herping techniques, you learn like certain areas, and that to me was like in my head it was like I know these snakes are moved for whatever reason. I don't know why. I couldn't tell you why. For whatever reason in this section of road the rat snakes move, whether they be yellows or reds. In my area, that's all we get. They move in this area, and I wanted to focus on this section. If I would not have turned around when I did, we would have never found that snake because it was a good 20 minutes opposite way to do the full route. But I decided to turn around right there, and there was that corn snake. And it was like, to me, it was like, maybe I do know what I'm doing. Like I'm not saying I'm like a god tier field herper at all.
But you got a little bit of a idea.
I always get a hunch, it's that feeling we talked about with Chaz, is like you get that feeling in your nuts. It's like I feel like we should turn around here and do this pass again. And it was right there, man. Like just an incredible individual. So I was very, very, very excited to find that guy, and me and Justin were both losing our minds over this. And
I bet Smitty was. Fuck.
Yeah, he said that thing was a female from the truck, and I believed him wholeheartedly. But no, so it was great. We had a good time. We found several snakes that night, and literally that same week, I think we went out on Saturday, found another yellow that I was hoping was a female. It was a young one, but I popped it literally on the side of the road, and it popped male. And mind you, I know it was a male because I popped it. I did not just take a guess. But we had a very good 2 days. Saturday, the second time we went was a little bit slower. Found some cool garter snakes. Found that one rat snake. And then we found a pretty good sized water snake that, I'm not gonna lie, from a distance I thought it was mud. And like I was like, oh my god, I think it's a mud, because like I saw like the red bands coming up the sides, and I was like, and ended up being a Nerodia, and that's fine. I love my Nerodia.
You got that big ass fucking cane break though.
That was by myself
Okay.
a couple weeks earlier. I couldn't remember if I had talked about that.
You might have. I honestly can't.
Yeah, I found a big cane break on that same road the week prior, and that was just, and it's so funny, man. Like, it was 3 times in a row I had like, like, be what it is, but like I feel like I put it into existence. And like I went out there when I collected that baby yellow rat, I was like, man, I really haven't found a yellow rat out here. I really want to find a yellow rat. Boom, found a yellow rat same night. Next time I went out there, and I was, for whatever reason, I was like, man, it would be super cool to see a cane break. 5 minutes later, I found a dump truck cane break.
Well,
Big
next
old sucker.
time you come over, can you say, hey man, let's see a pine snake? Because
dude, I'm telling you, man. But it seemed like I told Smitty this, and I was like, dude, it can't be forced. It has to be just like a random thought. Because then when me and Smitty went out, I verbally told him, I was like, yeah, I haven't found a corn snake out here, but I think they're out here. I think we'll find a corn snake eventually. Boom, 2 corns that night.
I guess it's the same thing with me and Preston, where I'm just like, yo, man, if we find a red rat snake, we're touching tips. Sure enough.
Yep, right there. So I don't know, man. Like this road has been very. Yeah, and Jack did the same thing when me and him. He said, "Y'all have ringnecks around here." He did the same thing when me and him went to see Gabe. We literally, this was like within a matter of seconds. Okay, we went to a spot to look for water snakes, and we're walking, and I stayed back. Jack, Gabe, and another person that was with us went up like looking for stuff, and I was scanning the water because I really wanted to find a certain water snake. And I hear Jack go, "Y'all have ringnecks up here?" And Gabe goes, "Yeah, we find them." All of a sudden, Gabe goes, "Oh, look, here's a ringneck." Like, it was within a matter of seconds, dude.
That's
like
fucking wild.
Between Jack saying, "Do y'all have ringnecks?" and Gabe literally going, "Here's a ringneck." It was insane. Like, I don't know, man. But yeah, we
it.
Go ahead.
Manifested it.
Yeah, for real. But we had a good couple days of herping out there on this new road. So now I have to complete my locality of come be yellow rats and come be corn snakes out here by me. So, and I'll for anybody watching, I'll pull up a picture of the red rat that I kept, because he shed not too long ago. And my God, me and Scott, it was because of Sky that I dubbed him this.
Did you name him? Don't tell
Yeah.
your girl.
Yeah, I'm officially calling him Deadpool. But that is the individual.
Fucking smoker.
And we call him Deadpool because of this little mask right here on him.
Dickies.
Little Deadpool. But as you can see, he's a little guy. These are what I prefer. If I'm gonna collect, I'm not big about field collecting. I really don't prefer it. But if I'm gonna do it, it's gonna be babies. And like I said, like that, a snake that size is gonna get chomped up by literally anything. A bullfrog would eat that size of a snake. So it doesn't. I don't mind keeping it as much. So that's my little Deadpool.
That thing is so fucking crispy.
It's crispy as all get out, dude. So really excited. Hopefully, I can find a counterpart for the yellow. And the yellow and the red were found maybe 100 yards apart. Same stretch of road, like in the same like fresh blacktop area. So I'm really excited to have both
Good
from
habitat right there, man.
yeah. And Mike Sicky said, "LOL, some of them survive." You're right, 100%. It's a lot, and some of them do survive, and I'm not denying that. I'm not saying what I did is, and it's mostly me just trying to condone my own actions. But there's a reason There's a reason snakes have so many babies, and that's because 90% of them don't make it to adulthood. So when it comes to babies, I don't mind taking them as much. Anything that's over 2 foot, I don't like it. It's not my cup of tea. That's just me. I'm just trying to be full disclosure with everybody, so it doesn't seem like I'm hiding anything. I did keep those 2 babies, but they were literally in their first year of livelihood, so I didn't
Just
mind.
so everyone
I
knows,
didn't mind
Jake's a
them.
fucking snake smuggler.
Yeah, I'm a piece of shit. Yeah, that's all it comes down to. But yeah, and then in Tennessee, I was there on a family vacation, not last weekend, but the weekend before, and tried to do some herping. Didn't get to do a lot, but as I stated before, I found the red salamander, which was my lifer, which was fantastic. Found a box turtle literally on the side of a fucking mountain, which was sick. And then I saw a fence lizard and literally the biggest broad-headed water snake, or the biggest broad-headed skinks I've ever seen. These things were they looked like blue tongues as far as size, dude. Like I saw these things. I was going up to like this little pool area where my nieces and nephews were swimming. I just got back, and these things were like running off into some landscaped areas, and dude, they were huge. Like the biggest broadheads I've ever seen in my life. I was like,
Somebody
what
needs to
the
get some of those and
fuck
just
are
see how
those?
big they can get them.
They were huge, dude. I'm talking, dude. I'm telling you, these things probably with the tail were over a foot long.
Oh, I believe that.
Like they were giant. Like so, those were cool to see. The highlight was definitely the red salamander. Just happened to flip a rock, and there he was. So that was cool. Me and my sister went on a little hike. I was going by myself. My sister's got 2 kids, and her husband was there. She was like, "Can I go, please? Like, I just need to get away for a little bit." And I was like, "Yeah, come on." I was like, "But you got to be able to stop for me to flip some rocks," and she didn't care. So we went on this little hike and flipped a big old rock, and there was this red salamander. She was all kinds of hyped about it. So
fuck yeah.
Yeah. So it was a good time. Didn't do a whole lot the last couple weeks, but it's about to ramp up again.
About to get back on it.
Yeah, got to get back on track. So
I'm ready as well. I'm ready to get back in the fucking field. The past 2 days, I was going to try to bust out and do a little road cruise, do 1 lap, but my fucking truck and trailer have been hooked up, so I just haven't had a chance.
Yeah. Same, man. I've been ever since I came back from Tennessee, I've been steadily trying to catch up with stuff in the collection, and I just haven't been able to do it. So it's been every day knocking out a little bit. I did a fishing tournament last week, and so that pretty much killed my weekend, and it was just like it's been busy. But back on track now. We got a South Florida trip coming up next month. Hopefully everybody can still go. Definitely gonna have lots of stories from that. So make it happen.
Yeah. I can't wait.
Yep. But with that said, we've kept everybody long enough. We're going on 2 hours and 40 minutes. Thank you for everybody that tuned in live. If you stayed through this whole thing, we appreciate you. Thank you.
Send us pics in your merch.
Yes, send us pics in your merch. Again, everything got sent out last Thursday. So if you haven't received your stuff yet, be looking for it soon. If you don't receive it, relatively soon, let me know. That way I can be on the lookout for things coming back, and I'll resend it if need be. But everybody seems to be getting their stuff. So if you got merch, whether you got it shipped to you or I gave it to you at the camping trip, please send me pictures of you repping it so we can make a big post about it,
Send pics now.
Yes, send pics. So again,
Holding-
this is
clearly they work, because as soon as Harry got his home in the mail, he had a fucking giant snapping turtle going through his yard.
Dude didn't even have it out of the package yet, and there's a snapping turtle.
If that ain't proof enough, I don't know what is.
Come on, baby. Come on.
Get your shit together, people.
Yes. Send us some pics, and we'll make a big post and tag everybody in it. And again, thank you everybody that got some merch from us. We certainly appreciate it.
Heck yeah. Thank you, guys.
But this has been episode 8 of Flippin Tin. We'll be back in 2 weeks. We're going to try to get back on schedule with everything. So be looking out. We're going to try to get back to posting some more again. And
yeah, for sure.
Yep. Get back to how things were.
Hell yeah. Thanks for sticking with us, folks.
Of course. And as always, I'm Jake with Longleaf Reptilia. If you want to find me, check me out on Instagram at Longleaf Reptilia. And Sky, where can people find you?
Yeah, hail the scales. Hit up the Peach Throat Passion page, you guys. Doing a lot of stuff. I have so much more people freaking talking about peach throats, getting into peach throats.
Yeah.
I gotta say, some of the messages that you guys send me on that page, I mean, they usually come in on the days when I'm at my lowest. So for everyone that sends me, messages on there talking about how the page helps them out and the content helps them out, you guys are rock stars. You guys freaking straight up legends. You keep me going. So I appreciate everyone, and I appreciate the support all throughout the community and on the page. You guys are awesome. So thank you big time. Y'all are the shit.
Yep. And big shout out again to our homeboy, Jack Oliver at Jack Oliver Reptiles. We love you.
Yeah. You are. We talk shit about your driving. It's because we love you. Thank you for your.
It's only because we love you.
All your badassness for the trip, brother. This was, we had Chaz on, but obviously you had just as much help in the trip, and you are lead chef. Gordon Ramsay was.
I was about to say he cooked for us the whole time. So
yeah, freaking. We had Gordon Ramsay sending us emails about Jack. We're like, nah, he's ours for the weekend, buddy.
Yeah,
freaking A.
Awesome. Well, thank y'all so much for tuning in, and we'll see y'all next time.
Hit him. Yeah, you got to hit him with the closer, dog.
As always, what we live by on this. I forgot about that because I'm about to pee myself right now.
Me too. I'm about
to But as always, the words we live by: look and you will see, read and you will learn, think and you will know. That is words from the rattlesnakes of United States and Canada.
Hell yeah, baby.
Good night, everybody.
Peace.